everybody, and welcome to episode 57 of Games My Mom Found. I am Mike Albertin, and who are the Metal Gear with me tonight?
Stefan J. Hein D. Solid Stuart Hughes. That sounds weird.
It does.
And our special guest. Yeah.
Dylan! Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me on.
Welcome.
Thank you for being on.
Not a problem.
I think I'm going to introduce what game we're playing, since this was my pick. We're going to be playing Metal Gear Solid for PlayStation 1.
Never heard of it.
We did play Metal Gear, I should say.
What is that?
I remember when I never heard of it.
You mean Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake?
Yeah.
You mean Metal Gear Solid?
Yeah, that's maybe convinced about it.
Wait, are you talking about Metal Gear Solid, the mobile game?
Don't ever mention that. We don't talk about that.
No, Metal Gear Solid for Game Boy Color.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yes. That masterpiece.
We already did that, actually.
I like how, we
7.
skipped around. Like, we did Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake at this point. We did Snake's Revenge. We did Ghost Babel.
No, we didn't do Snake's Revenge.
I thought did we not do Snake? Did I just create like a false memory? I thought for sure we did Snake's Revenge.
Yes, you did.
Okay.
We did Metal Gear Ghost Babel in episode 7. Recently, we did Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake for the MSX a couple weeks, over a month ago at this point. And then now we're doing the first Metal Gear Solid for PlayStation 1.
Yeah, I totally remember us doing a third Metal Gear game, so I guess my brain is just mush.
Too much podcasting.
We started with Ghost Babel, then we did Metal Gear 2. And now we're like finally getting into like the real Metal Gear games.
And most people know.
Yeah. Not the Metal
but
Gear
it's all just so
bad.
all over the place with story anyway. I mean,
that's true. Yeah, well, like we did Ghost Babel, and that was a very early episode, and that was one of the ones I was sweating about because I was like, God, are we just going to talk about like Metal Gear lore for like 5 hours? Like, how much are we going to be able to even cover if we do that?
Well, that one specifically was non-canon, so we had to talk about it.
Yeah.
When my girlfriend and I were watching one of the videos earlier, and like I had to pause it like 3 or 4 times because she's like, wait, explain what who is Snake? Which one is Snake? I'm like, there's multiple snakes. You have 5 snakes. That one killed that one, and it's like the Bible. He begot who begot him, who.
Just explain Metal Gear to me.
It's like I feel like if I ever watch any of those story explanation videos for Metal Gear, I end up knowing less about the series than prior to watching it.
Those quick story videos that are all an hour long.
Yeah.
Because I like, since I was talking about Metal Gear and watching, I also watched a couple of videos on Metal Gear, and like my recommendations on YouTube are now just like a simple look at the Metal Gear timeline, and it's like a 42-minute video. It's just like pictures of 5 different snakes on it. It's like, God damn it, this is all right, fine.
All right, let's do it.
Metal Gear is crazy.
So I don't know.
Yes.
Oh, go ahead, Mike.
Okay, first I do want to say, like, I was first introduced to this game there was this kid that we knew, and I want to say I was in 6th grade at the time, and he was kind of a geeky guy, but we were in band class, and he had introduced my buddy Rich, who was also on this podcast before, to Metal Gear Solid. I remember we first played it. I'm like, what the hell is this? I had never heard of it before. I didn't know what it was. I never even knew the NES game existed until after that.
Yeah, I had kind of a similar experience. Me and my friend AJ had actually gone to, I think it was EB Games at the time, and we had just barely enough money to get it. Like, we were like $4 or $5 short, and it was in the mall. So we went walking around asking people for change. And like after an hour, I was like, I got $5. How much did you get? He's like, I got like 50 cents. I'm like, well, why? He's like, well, I got hungry. Like, all right. And then we walked in there and we tried to purchase the game. And the guy's like, yeah, you guys aren't 18. You can't buy this. I'm like, fuck. So we called his mom.
In Metal Gear.
Yeah, we called his mom, and she came down, drove to the mall, and she went in there, and he's like, this is a violent game, and they're not 18. And she's like, I don't give a shit. Just sell me the game.
I'm gonna give credit to that guy though, because like that shit probably saved so many fucking kids from just dealing with their like annoying ass parents. They're like, I didn't know this game. Like fucking the idiots who like take their kids to see R-rated movies, and they're like, I didn't know that there'd be violence and blood in this. And it's like, did you not pay attention to the fucking warning that comes up before the movie that tells you exactly what's going to be in it?
I used to work at a video store called Hastings, and when Ted came out, that happened a lot.
Yeah,
and I would have to start warning parents who had small children with them, like, you do know this teddy bear is not child friendly, and he smokes pot, right?
Oh, what?
Yeah, every time. And this lady came in screaming at me. She's like, my child put this in. I thought this was for families. I'm like, ma'am, it's rated R. It says so on the back of the box.
If only there was a handy parents guide on the back of every single box of every single game and movie that told you like potential themes that might show up.
It's really not that violent of a game, honestly.
It really isn't.
Thankfully, I think my parents like gave up on that pretty quickly because my cousin was just like, let me play Grand Theft Auto 3. And they were just like,
that's fine.
He'll probably be fine. Like
that was the big one. Yeah.
He'll probably be okay. Like before that, I was playing Sims and I was just making Sims sleep with each other. And they're like, yeah, we just might as well just let them dive into this cesspool.
Grand Theft Auto 3 is a lot worse than this game. This game isn't that violent. I mean, yes, you do shoot people and there are some things, but compared to some of the stuff, but I guess in the PlayStation 1 era, you didn't have a whole lot of really violent stuff besides like Mortal Kombat.
You say it's not that violent. Somebody's hand gets fucking cut off.
But it doesn't even look like it now.
Yeah.
That's true, yeah. But back in the day, that shit was like the best graphics that we've ever seen. It's like, nothing will look more realistic than this.
Oh my God, look at those graphics. Oh, so polygonal.
I still say, like, whenever I go back and play, like, that's like Knights of the Old Republic for me. I go back and play it, and I'm like, man, this game looks like Garbo now. But I remember when I first played this game, and I was like, this is the most life experience I've ever had.
Same.
I think everybody had that one game where they're like, well, this is as good as it gets.
I mean, at the time, I remember this game looking incredible. I mean, now when I played it recently, I'm like, this did not hold up well.
I love how many like close-up shots Kojima does, where it'll be like right up on Meryl's face, and it's clearly like inspired by movies because this whole game is very cinematic. Despite being essentially just a top-down shooter, this game is amazingly cinematic. And there's so many shots of like right up on Meryl's face, and you know that what they're going for is Meryl is expressing emotion here, but like her eyes aren't rendered and she doesn't have eyebrows, like her mouth doesn't move. It's just like you just have to assume what she's feeling.
Well, and that's why I loved in Twin Snake, they made it so exaggerated because it makes him out to be like this like cheesy action just hero instead of this amazing soldier.
Well,
it made me giggle.
I think I'm in the minority here, where I've always viewed Snake and the Metal Gear Solid series as a cheesy action movie game. Whereas I know a lot of people are like, I'm trying to think of the nicest way to word this. A lot of people are like worship Big Boss and Snake, and they're like, well, they're like the coolest people ever, and I love their ideology. And it's like their ideology is that like war should go on forever because they have no other place to live because they're soldiers.
Exactly, and it's a really. And they mentioned that like 3 or 4 times, like maybe that's why you're always around. Maybe that's why you keep doing what you're doing, because maybe you just love war.
Yeah. Snake's lines are like, I'm not a hero, I'm a killer. And people are like, yes, like my hero. And it's like, no, listen to what he's saying.
I mean, which would bring us to the next point of the fact that this guy is coming out of retirement and he lived in Alaska.
At the ripe old age of like 30, not even. How old is Solid Snake supposed to be in this game? Like 26 or something?
Something like
Gotta be older than that.
Let me look.
Hold on, yeah.
I'll bring up Solid. Let's see here. Not Solid as Snake. God damn it. I'm on the wiki and I just typed in Snake and...
Not John Sears?
Let's just type in David, named after his voice actor, David Hayter, who... Oh, man. Just something about hearing like David
30.
Hayter's voice.
He was 30 in Metal Gear Solid.
And he was 70 years old 2 years later.
Those advanced aging defects, you know.
Yeah, I like how like I almost called him Huey. How Hal is like barely aged in the later games, and Snake because of his superior aging genes, or I guess inferior aging genes. It's like 80 years old on the battlefield, but he's really like it's so weird to think like chronologically he's only like 40 when he dies.
Yeah, because of the fox die.
Is that what aged him?
Yes. Yep. Essentially, basically everything in Metal Gear kind of comes back like to Fox die. In like
we should say in the Solid series it's Fox die.
Yeah,
yeah, that plays a big part in the Solid series.
Yeah, I mean, and the Solid series is the majority of the game. There's Metal Gear and Metal Gear 2, which we played Metal Gear 2. We haven't played the first Metal Gear yet.
Right, and Metal Gear 5, and then Portable Ops and Ground Zeroes.
Portable Ops. Sorry.
Even 5 and like even 5, like Phantom Pain and Ground Zeroes are setting the stage for Fox Die, basically.
Basically, I mean, we should explain what happens. I don't know if you want to do it, Mike, or I can. We can.
The opening of this game.
Yeah,
I'll describe the opening.
Okay.
Or at least the basic. So you have Snake had 2 other missions that were games. You have the NES game, or not NES, but the 2 MSX games, Metal Gear and the Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake, which we played the second one earlier on the show. But Solid Snake is a Special Forces op that was part of this Special Squadron. I think he was a part of Foxhound, but he's retired now, living in Alaska. He's given up on everything. He's done. He just wants to race dogs and be done with this shit. They didn't even he was completely off the radar. People didn't even know where he was, and they send a team to go abduct him because they need him on the special mission to infiltrate Shadow Moses, which is a remote island in Alaska, which was a testing site for nuclear weapons that was taken over by his old team, but not people he knew, but the same Special Forces team, Foxhound, that's taken over and now are terrorists.
Foxhound has, they've defected and become a terrorist organization, and they need Snake to go in and save the day because he knows Foxhound the best. He's the coolest.
And the government is completely worried about these guys because they have a nuclear weapon system called Metal Gear, which is a giant robot, which
launches nuclear warheads, even though it wasn't supposed to. Somehow it became capable of doing that. And they never really explain how.
In Kojima land, anything is possible, and we all know this.
I love the Metal Gear games go so heavily into explaining every little bit of lore. They're kind of like the Silmarillion of games, but there's this one thing where they take Metal Gear Rex and they never really explain how it went from being a anti-tank or an anti-warhead tank to being a warhead tank. It's just like I guess Liquid did that in his free time or something. I don't know.
Because Dr. Mundo came back and he just so happened to be there. That's why.
Yeah. Does it ever explain why they want Big Boss's body? Is it just because they want to see if he's actually dead or not?
No.
Oh wait, don't they want to create super soldiers or something?
No, all the clones, so the genome soldiers.
It's all cloning shit
that you're fighting, Liquid and Solid, are all dying because they're clones, and they need his body to get his DNA so they can find a cure to stop the aging and save them.
Yeah, because I know that, and like Kojima had this weird quote where he just he says, "Why do you guys give a shit about Solid Snake? Like, he's not real. He's a clone. Why don't you care about Big Boss?" I was like, I mean, he's a person too, Kojima.
Yeah, essentially, as you find out throughout this game, Solid Snake and Liquid, spoilers, by the way, for
Spoilers Metal Gear Solid.
This game is almost 30 years old. We shouldn't have to say this,
but spoilers for the game we're going to talk about.
If anybody needs spoilers for this game being this old, it's okay. It's okay.
And you'd be surprised. Let's just say, blanket, we're probably going to spoil some other Metal Gears. It's possible. Just get over it. We're going to spoil. I'm going to say right now, just off the top of my head, we're almost definitely going to spoil the end of Metal Gear 4. So sorry, no one really cares about Metal Gear 4, so it's fine.
Everybody guessed Metal 4 though, so
yeah. To go back, because I didn't actually say my memory of this game, because I was introduced to this game through Metal Gear 3.
Oh wow.
I had a friend who was all about Metal Gear. He thought Metal Gear was the coolest shit ever, and I had never played any of it. And he was like, "You gotta play Metal Gear. You gotta play Metal Gear." And so we sat down. And I started playing Metal Gear 3, and I was like, "This cutscene's taking forever. I'm not going to play this game." It's like we only had
the best one first.
It's my favorite of the series now, but at the time I was 11 or something, and I was like, "I'm not going to sit down and watch this 20-minute cutscene." So I stopped playing it, and then I got back into the series with the same friend who had me play Metal Gear Solid 4. Which has the hour-and-a-half fucking cutscene at the beginning.
You just wanted to go back to playing Resident Evil for the 100th time?
Basically. Resident Evil and KOTOR, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, finally I was like, fine, I will get into Metal Gear with you. And so I sat down and I watched the entire beginning of Metal Gear Solid 4. Oh, hold on. Thought I had to sneeze and I didn't.
Kept you waiting, huh?
Kept you waiting. And yeah, I watched the whole like beginning cutscene of 4, and then we had to leave. And so like that was my introduction to the series, was watching the cutscene of Metal Gear Solid 4, and then a week later finally being able to play the game. And I was like, well, this game is great. I should go back and play all of them. And he was I've never let me live that down.
Mine was actually through VR missions. My stepbrother had it. He lost the actual copy of Metal Gear Solid, but he had VR missions still, and I would go over to my dad's, and that's like all we would do is just play VR missions.
VR missions is great.
It is, and I freaking miss it so much.
I like how nobody I don't know if there's anybody out there who got into seeing a box on a shelf and being like, oh, that looks interesting. It's always some friend who's like, you have to play this.
Mm-hmm.
Some person out there that's like demands you experience it. And then as soon as you play the game, you're that asshole for everybody else where it's like, oh, you have to play Metal Gear. You haven't played it? What's wrong with you?
Yeah. That's pretty accurate. That's how I got introduced to it, was a friend.
I mean, Metal Gear Solid, I know, is considered one of the greatest games of all time. I want to say, I mean, it holds up so well, surprisingly.
I mean, one thing we have in 1998.
Yeah, from 1998.
But I think the actual story takes place in 2005.
Yeah, it does.
The distant future of 2005.
Mm-hmm.
Which I love when games used to do that. Games don't really do that anymore. Like sometimes you see movies do it, and it's just kind of annoying to me when it's like, oh, we're setting this in like 3 years from now. Like Marvel does that, and it's like the technology is insane. I'm like I doubt in 3 years we're all gonna have like AI walking around helping us out.
No, we're not.
But it's a very optimistic view of 2023.
Like, hey, didn't Blade Runner already happen?
Yeah, Blade Runner's already happened. Back to the Future's already happens.
Yeah, where's my damn hoverboard?
My favorite is like all the Resident Evils still try to do that, where it's like the first Resident Evil was made in 97, and it set the game in 98 or something, or 95 and set the game in 97.
I think it came out in 96. I don't know.
It said like a year ahead of time. It's just like, why would you do that? Why would you set the game a year ahead of time with like nothing's different? There's really no narrative reason to do that.
It's got to be something.
Well, and like
it'd be like if I came out with a movie today.
Well, and if you like just look back at this, like it all starts like with everything with the Prophets, all starts with in 1918 and then ends in whatever when Revengeance is.
2018.
So we're officially past all of Metal Gear now. Okay.
Yep. We're in the.
Well, it's a good thing that nothing that happened in Metal Gear ever came true.
Right? I mean, I would not prefer there being samurai freaking android robots running around destroying nuclear shooting dinosaur robots. Let's not do that.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing the nations of the world aren't trying to hoard nukes.
No.
Also, there's a line in Metal Gear 2 that did come, or Metal Gear Solid 2 that did come true. Has to do with the way internet, the internet itself. Like he was talking about what he was scared of happening, how people could control how people perceive things, which has happened already, and there's proof of that.
Mm-hmm.
It's the whole idea of like Kojima goes into the idea of memes, which I fucking hated as a kid, and I still kind of hate. I don't know. I appreciate the story, and it's not anything specific about that message I hate. It's the word meme. I hate when I hear people say the word meme in real life, and I don't know if anybody else is like that. If two people are like, "Oh, I saw a meme the other day," I'm like, that's an internet thing. That's not like a real life thing. Something weird about it where like it takes it out of the sphere that it belongs in. I'm just like, that's strange to me. I don't like that. I don't like hearing my video game characters talk about it's the new meme.
All right, I think we should. I do want to mention a couple more things about like the opening of Metal Gear. Like also like the way I know this game has a full-on cutscene in the beginning if you don't press anything of Snake swimming through the water in his suit, and it just and like we were saying before, it's very cinematic. I think you have either the music playing or somebody talking about your mission. I can't remember because I didn't do it this time.
We should mention too that the music playing there at the beginning of this game actually is an original to this game. It first came out in Police Knots to the opening of that game. It's just a redone version of it.
Okay, I did not know that.
Which we need to play that on the show at some point.
Well, you know what to do.
I like that opening. I know Kojima has talked in many interviews where he like people have asked him about his influence, and he just goes on and on about movies. Like he's a huge kind of movie buff with like stuff like Commando and Predator, like that style of like just kind of dumb action schlock. That's great. And I want to say, like, the beginning of this game just reminds me so much of the movie Navy SEALs with Charlie Sheen back in the day. It's like something about it though is like so. Even though everything looks like garbage now, something about it is just like so pretty. Seeing like the silhouette of Snake from like filmed from down below, like silhouetted in the moonlight as he's approaching the base.
Oh yeah, actually the way they set up that whole room is like a master for how the game works, because you have like puddles of water, and if you walk through them, then you have water spots around that guards can detect, and then there's shit you can hide under. Like that whole room just sets up what the game's going to be as soon as he comes out of the water.
Does a very good job of it too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and for those that don't know,
and then you just get that classic mullet.
Yeah, I like the mullet. But this is a mostly top-down action stealth game.
Yeah,
I mean, it looks like it's 3D, but it looks more. But it's I mean, it really is a top-down game.
Which I always want to point that out to people, because I think a lot of people have played like Snake Eater and Metal Gear Solid 4, and maybe not so many people have actually played Metal Gear Solid so much as they just know about it because it was kind of like everywhere. Like there's like, I mean, when Newgrounds is a website for it, I mean, how many fucking like parody videos of Metal Gear Solid were on Newgrounds.com?
I used to watch one that was stupid but funny. So yeah.
Was it Metal Gear Awesome?
Yes, it was.
There was Metal Gear Awesome. There was like the Him Daisy Metal Gear comics that like people freaked out about. And so I feel like a lot more people know the story of Metal Gear Solid without knowing the gameplay, which is funny to me because it's a top-down shooter. You would not expect hearing about like the greatest game of all time. I remember going back and playing it and being like, this is not what I was expecting. I don't know. I thought I was like going to jump into like a first-person shooter, not a top-down stealth action game.
It's not what you would think, especially with you coming from playing 2 or 3. It's much different. But also, like, even if we were talking about in that first room, I mean, you're introduced to the first enemy, you have no weapons. The only way to kill anyone, which you don't need to do, is you have to get near them, press square so he'll grab them, and then tap square quickly, and then you break their neck. But nowhere does the game tell you that. At least not at first.
I like how they sent you in. Fucking the Pentagon has sent you in to fucking take down this terrorist threat Foxhound, who is a renegade special forces unit, the best special forces unit on the planet, and they send you in with nothing. And the only thing you have with you is a pack of cigarettes that you smuggled in by swallowing and throwing back up.
Yeah, and you should quit smoking.
Yeah. It's so like stupid action movie in the best way of like, oh, we sent him in with nothing and he took them all down.
The fun thing is that he's based off of Kurt Russell's Pliskin from Escape from New York and Escape from LA.
Yeah.
Christopher Walken, and
who famously has a gun.
Right. Him and Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Oh yeah.
But that's who he's
based off of,
those 3 people.
You definitely feel the Snake Plissken coming through. Which is great.
Definitely.
I mean,
definitely.
It's such a great character to base a video game off of, but I love both those movies for very different reasons, because they're both very different movies. Both the Escape ones are. One is like a good movie and the other is like a good bad movie almost.
Mm-hmm.
But like those movies are just rife for making a video game, because it's just, there's not really any story to them. It's just, here's a guy, he's badass, he's going into this world that's insane, and he's just doing badass things there. And it's just Kurt Russell doing like a Clint Eastwood impression. It's like, yeah, that's a video game character, 100%.
That's very accurate.
It's great.
I'll go with it.
And then Snake comes out and he's like, yeah, that's Snake Plissken.
Oh, I can't remember why you're dropped in with no weapons. So I know there's a story reason, but I can't remember what it was.
I think some like scanner bullshit. I don't know.
Okay.
More than likely.
Can't remember what it was, but
this is okay.
Okay, I'll go. And it's just like even just the way it opens up, like this game is always cinematic. Like there's a very early scene when he's dropped off in the docks, you go in the elevator where he takes off his mask and he's dropping off his aqua gear, and you hear one of the leads of the terrorist group talking about, I think someone's gonna come through here. We better put extra guards, like talking about what's gonna be happening, and it is just really awesome opening. And you have the codec call, where the codec is a little radio inside your ear that somehow has a video at the same time. I don't know if I'm trying to say that.
Yeah, they never explained that really, do they?
Like I thought at first it's just for us, like we're just seeing it.
I never thought about that. God damn it, Mike. I never thought about how.
Well, I mean, it'd be fine, except for the part where there's a scene later on where someone takes off their sunglasses. They go, "It's you!" before he even says anything, and I'm like, "You can't see. How do you know?"
Maybe it's because you can get like the code. Like I've seen people make the Metal Gear codecs, so I think it's like a Palm Pilot thing, but the ringtone just plays in his ear so that no one else can see it.
Okay, I thought it was something actually inside his ear because he puts his hand to his ear when he talks.
Well, it could be like a jawbone thing where there's like an implant.
Yeah. I know. He's also in Metal Gear 3. Headset thing. Yeah, in Metal Gear 3, he actually carries around a thing that has a little video on it. So there's this one, they don't explain it, but I'm assuming it's kind of like the same technology. I think there's even a part where Naomi or somebody is like, you're too close to the video. You need to back up if you hold down the analog stick.
Are you sure?
I always assumed it was like you know what, Stefan? I always assumed it looked like the radio from Resident Evil 4.
Resident Evil, that like
Leon has. Yeah. It's like the little leather thing he has. I always just assumed it looked like that. But that's like, I mean, they hit you over the head with that immediately, and it becomes so much so much of the story is told through the codec, but I would say it's kind of told in a way that never really gets boring. Like in a lot of other games where it takes you out of the action to like have a conversation, that can get really old really fast. Whereas this game is like, I think for the most part, the codec is interesting, and the fact that Kojima plays around with how that like operates within the story, I think it tends to like keep me involved for the most part. Every now and then it does get very fucking annoying where like Naomi will call you and you're like, shut the fuck up.
I just want to shoot.
I'm fighting a tank. Now is not the time.
It's like a very subtle way of saying like, how would he know what to do next without mission orders? And the only way he can get them is through the codec. But
it, like,
sometimes
it plays a part in the story.
Oh, does anyone ever use the codec to call anybody unless you actually have to? Because I don't.
I mean, if I needed to use the hint,
I like calling. Oh God, what's her fucking name? I can't think of her name now.
Naomi.
Yeah, Mei Ling. I like calling Mei Ling and getting the quotes. I thought that was really funny.
I like calling.
Just give you like a random quote.
I like calling Deep Throat.
I like sometimes you call Otacon and he's just like, "What? I'm very busy, Snake. What do you want? Stop calling me."
Okay, the funniest Metal Gear name I've heard so far, Hot Coldman.
Hot Coldman.
Yeah,
from Peace Walker.
I fucking love it. Sorry, had to.
I mean, all the fucking characters from like Snake Eater are just so funny to me. Like, I'm the pain, I'm the sorrow, and it's like, you guys are so fucking emo.
And it's just like a cheesy 70s freaking. Oh God, it's so good.
Snake Eater is James Bond.
Yes,
we'll
Snake Eater is the James
another
Bond.
Time.
Yeah, we will. Well, that's going to be like a 6-hour episode, so I would say we probably shouldn't. But that's going to be one of those episodes where you might have to like break it up into 2 parts.
This might happen with this episode. Consider how far we are.
I'd say this one's getting ordering. Yeah.
All right, and then the next part, which we've been referencing and everyone jokes about, which back then doesn't, like, I didn't understand why it mattered. Like, you go into this first open area and you see the main terrorist, Liquid Snake, that you don't know that name yet, is talking, and then he gets into a helicopter, a Hind D, and then they have a whole conversation about why do they have a Hind D, and looking like it didn't occur to me. He shoots down, I think, 2 or 3 jets with an Apache helicopter or a Hind D, which is like an Apache helicopter. Yeah. But
kind of.
I mean, that to me that didn't mean anything. But now that I know more about life, like that'd be a hell of a feat to take down jets with a helicopter.
Well, that's the Hind D, baby. The Hind D is an attack helicopter. Like,
yeah, but
without going into like a stupid amount of Yeah, but without going into a stupid amount of like military history here, the Hind D was kind of like the Soviet Union's. It was their helicopter for such a long time, and it's still in use today because it's such a good fucking helicopter.
Yeah.
The Hind D was in many ways was like their version of the Apache. That just, I mean, I would actually go so far as to say the Apache is our version of the Hind D. It's just a crazy good helicopter.
Wasn't the Hind D Baby? Isn't that Taylor Swift's new song? Hind D Baby.
I hate.
JD, you would
That's a
know
joke
that.
just for Mike.
I'm a big Taylor Swift fan. That's why he's making the joke.
I prefer Yummy by Justin Bieber. I use my VNP to listen to it in other countries.
Oof.
But that whole Hind D part, I always
date
thought
this video.
it's okay. It's not a video, so it's all right.
That Hind D.
We're like the
every time I
codec
say
right
that,
now.
But we can't see each other.
The Hind D is, it's kind of like, that's an interesting thing because they talk about it, but seeing that and then calling it out specifically as a Hind D, if you know a little bit about like any kind of like war vehicles or anything, that's kind of like the first clue that like, okay, the Russians are involved in this somehow. You don't know how, but the Russians are involved in this terrorist organization, and it kind of gives you some like Cold War senses. That's what that's kind of meant to do. And they talk about that it's a Russian helicopter, but really it's like, okay, like this is building off of Cold War themes.
Right.
The Cold War ended in the 80s, I want to say, right?
Yeah, but like in this game,
War.
like basically the Cold War never freaking ended.
Yeah.
In real life, the Cold War never friggin' ended.
That is very true.
It just went digital. That's all it did.
Which is very
Not to get
something I
political,
don't want to talk about on here.
Still very much going on.
Wrong podcast. That's next week.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can tell it ended because we're best friends with Russia right now. But yeah,
So like the whole Hind D part I thought was just cool, and like even the sneaking around, like you find out early on if you leave footprints, the guards can see your footprint and go, huh? And they'll follow you. Yeah. Which I also love.
That literally scared the shit out of me as a kid. I was like, oh fuck, I am so screwed. And then like you run 10 feet away, trying to get away, go up the stairs, and there's a security camera right there, which goes to show that in this game, there's a very friendly thing called radar, and you need to watch it at all times. Because
I love the radar.
Multitasking.
I like
I would say this is the best radar too out of all the Metal Gears. The most simplified.
I would say it's like just an all-around good radar amongst all video game radars. It's not the best out of any video game, but it's up there for me.
Mm-hmm. It is, and I don't know. I like the radar in 5. I'm sorry, but I did.
Yeah, I like the one in 5 a lot, just because it's the one in 5 just kind of goes back to the Metal Gear Solid one and just updates it slightly, which I mean, kind of makes sense for like Metal Gear 5 takes place not too long before Metal Gear Solid, like 10 years. So it makes sense to go back to that kind of technology.
Hey, Stu.
Yeah. What? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Remember when I said it's so that's
anytime we get off track.
I need to stop going off on tangents.
Yes. The one time I get to do it. Okay, after I had played this game makes so much more sense to me after having played Metal Gear 2 a couple months ago. Like there are so many things I'm catching now that I didn't catch before. Like I still don't know who the fuck Master Miller is, even though I played Metal Gear 2.
Wow.
Is he in that game?
Well, we did say we would talk about this.
Almost. Yeah. Master Miller?
Yeah.
Isn't he a clone of Kazuhira?
Yeah. No, he is Kazuhira. Kazuhira Miller is the same person as Master Miller. But he doesn't really become a character for a very long time.
Okay, so he wasn't...
He was just... His main role in the series is Resident Evil 5. Like, it takes until... Not Resident Evil 5, damn it.
Wow, man. He goes from being in Konami to Capcom, huh?
His main role in the series is in Metal Gear Solid 5.
His biggest role, he was still in Metal Gear 2, wasn't he, when we played it? Could have swore he was one of the people.
He's in it, but Metal Gear Solid 5 is kind of when you get to know Master Miller. And that's like the first time he has like a real character.
He has one of the best lines too when he says, "They played us like a fiddle."
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, he is in Metal Gear 2. I don't remember him though.
Oh,
it's funny to me that he kind of has a following, considering in Metal Gear Solid, like he's mainly in Metal Gear Solid 5, and he mainly comes across as like a whiny baby for the entirety of the game until pretty much the very end, where you're like Master Miller was right about everything. Why didn't I listen to him? He's also missing an arm and a leg.
The reason Peace Walk.
I don't know. The reason we're bringing up Master Miller, though, is because as soon as you get into the first air duct to go into the base, Colonel Campbell calls you, and he's like, "Oh, you're having problems, Snake? Here, just talk to Master Miller." And he's like, "Oh, Master Miller, thank God."
Yeah.
But you find out later that might not be Master Miller.
It's funny to me that like when they redid, they kind of retconned his character to where he was working with Big Boss, but he never brings it up. Where he's like, "When I worked with your dad that you killed." You'd think that would be something they'd talk about.
Well,
yeah,
also, I don't think they know.
But he's like,
no one knows. And that's like the funniest part of this whole entire story is that no one knows anything.
Yeah. You
what the hell?
Like 30% of this game is you getting codec calls from random people who don't know that you're being codec called by the other people. It's just like they're just like sowing misinformation constantly to the point where you're just at some point in the game you say something like it's not like "fuck you, Campbell," but it's something along those lines of like, "Shut up, Campbell. I'm tired of listening to you." It's like he's your boss. He's supposed to be helping you.
And Colonel Campbell
is supposed to be like your
too.
friend. Yeah, Colonel Campbell. Okay. Let's just go over real quick like the characters you have in this game, because you have like a whole support staff with you the entire time, and then like Foxhound has kind of their equally weird list of baddies that they have.
Well, theirs are all special ops. I mean, they're all like warriors except for Decoy Octopus.
But they all have like very specific specialties. Everyone has like their specialty. Like you have like Naomi Hunter is like the medic of. Is she? She's the medic, really and she calls you on the codec. Huh? Yeah, Naomi.
I don't think Naomi Hunter's in this game.
Yes, she is.
Isn't that a fake name she's using?
Yeah, but it's still okay. Sorry.
All the names in this were fake for the voice actors.
I couldn't tell you were making a joke. I was like, "Are you serious?"
I know.
Like she's like a big part of the game.
The joke is that when she's talking, when the character's talking to you, is not who she says she is the whole time.
Yeah, everyone's like a double agent. Yeah, everyone is a double agent.
Except for like fucking Revolver Ocelot, who's like a quintuple agent.
Yeah, fuck
in
you,
every
Ocelot.
fucking season. Ocelot is either upfront about everything, or he has like 17 different motives that are hiding what he's doing. There's no in between with him.
Well, he's
never just a double agent.
I'm not going to spoil Metal Gear 4, but he basically is the guy running the show, or one of the many guys running the show behind the scenes.
He is the most competent person in the entire Metal Gear franchise,
except for in 3, where he doesn't realize he needs a different gun.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's him learning how to be competent. Metal Gear is essentially Metal Gear as in its entirety is essentially the origin story and like eventual death of Revolver Ocelot. It's like his entire life told throughout all 5 games, or all 1,000 games, I should say.
But getting back to the characters, Colonel Campbell is he's based off the Colonel in what's that Sylvester Stallone movie? Rambo. He's
you say Rambo. I get way more of a Escape from LA and New York vibe from him.
I would say basically the same character. I think they are actually.
That's fair. That's fair to say.
Yeah.
They might have been played by the same actor. I can't remember.
I think they are. I'm gonna look this up.
They might be. You might be right about this. Yeah. Angry commander who is just like ambiguously has worked with you before. And
well, he was in Metal Gear 2 for sure.
But like they go over this like whole history of Snake that is kind of left out. Like, I mean, they talk about Metal Gear 2 and the first Metal Gear, but also Solid Snake has gone on like thousands of operations that they never really get into. And it's like implied that Colonel Campbell has been with him for a very long time.
No, it was Donald Pleasance. No, wait, Donald Pleasance played the president.
It was not Donald Pleasance.
Sorry.
Donald Pleasance.
It was, God damn, who was it? This is gonna bother me now. But in Rambo, it was Richard Crenna. That's who played the Colonel.
Okay.
And it looks exactly like
Basically.
the Colonel in Metal Gear. Yeah.
White guy with a black beret, white bald guy with a black beret. That character, and that should tell you everything who that is. Older white guy with a black beret. He's the angry police chief of the Metal Gear franchise.
Yeah, that works.
And he says like something really. It's such a dumb action movie thing in the beginning, but like, and he lets you know that his granddaughter is in the base too. He's like, keep an eye out for my granddaughter Meryl. She's on this operation as well. It's like, okay, you just said it. It's in any other game, I'd say that's setting up the love interest, but Snake flirts with like every fucking person he talks to. So it's like there is no love interest, and there is a love interest, and we'll talk about that when we're introduced to the best character ever.
But you and Meryl have that moment in the air duct, that no one knows about, where there's 20 different angles of you being able to see her butt.
Yeah. God, that even becomes a fucking
Kojima, you
gameplay
pervert.
mechanic later. It becomes important to the story that she shakes her big ass. Like that is literally part of the fucking story of Metal Gear.
Like that's literally all the notes I have. You can get Meryl to take off her pants. That's all my Metal Gear notes say.
Oh, does it mention how she
man.
falls in love with the guy who shits himself?
Yep.
Later on,
though. That's her soulmate in this war. I fucking hate Meryl. I know some people like loved Meryl, and I think that was just because it was a girl in a video game. I mean, like as kids, I think a lot of people like Meryl. It's just like, oh, it's a girl with a black tank top on. She's like super hot, but Meryl sucks so much. She sucks so badly. She's just like I want to be a soldier too. It's like half of what Snake says to her is like, "You're green, stay out of this." I want to help. Eyes. Oh no, I've been shot by a sniper.
Yeah,
there's the genetically super soldier tells me to stay out of it. I'm gonna stay out of it. But if you want to, go right ahead.
Yeah. Look, if I'm fighting the fucking Covenant and the Master Chief tells me to get down, I'm gonna get the fuck down.
Yep.
But Meryl's like, I'm a big girl. I don't wear a bra. And it's like, shut up. Get out of the way.
Yeah.
All right. She's literally wearing a henna tattoo.
The first place you actually find... Yeah. The first place you actually find Meryl is in the cell block, because essentially what Snake is going in is he's trying to take the DARPA chief out of the base and get him away from the terrorists so that they don't have to give in to the ransom. And one of the things you can do is when you're going through the cell blocks is you're crawling through a vent above them, and you can look down and see inside of one, and it's Meryl, and she's doing like sit-ups or something. Yeah, I think. Yeah. And then every time, and like a little known fact is like every time you can go forward and come back, and she'll be doing a different exercise, and eventually she'll be doing one with her pants off.
Yeah.
If you keep, yep, there's a lot of Meryl facts in this game.
God, Kojima.
Sure is.
Well, I like that, like, people focus on, like, the fact that she's doing, like, different exercises and shakes her pants off, and that is kind of funny, but I just want to point out that the first time you come across Meryl, she's already in fucking jail. Mm-hmm. She's already been captured.
Another little Meryl fact is that in this game, you can actually go into first-person view, and if you sit there and just stare at Meryl, she will literally turn red. Like beet red. She'll be like, Snake, stop it.
This is after Snake has already hit on Naomi Hunter and Mei Ling several times.
Isn't Mei Ling young though?
Oh yeah.
Yes, but she's not like 13. I think she's like 19. I want to say at the time. She is like a super genius.
She was born in 1980, so yeah. If this is 2005, she's 25.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's like a super genius that Mei Ling kind of got like done dirty in the Metal Gear series, where they just forgot about her for like 3 games, which sucks because I really like Mei Ling. I like really enjoyed her like whole story of like her parents were Chinese, but they were brought to America, and so she just was like a lost character, or she was like had like a lost persona. She's like, I'll just read everything from like China and America and England. And, like as a result, she ended up like becoming a genius and going to MIT and becoming like one of the best. What is her? She's like an engineer, right? She's like a radio support engineer.
I think she's a data analyst, and then later on she gets into like philanthropy or something.
Yeah, she eventually becomes like kind of an admiral in the U.S. Navy, I guess, just in the course of a couple years. Yeah, and 4 she's like running a ship, but it doesn't really. I don't know if it explains what she's doing on it, but she is running like an entire ship by her.
Yeah, because 4 takes place 9 years.
Or she has like a
after
small
this game.
fleet with her or something. Yeah,
She's
in a very short amount of time, she has become like a fleet commander.
Yeah, she's the captain of the USS Missouri.
That's right. It was a museum ship, wasn't it?
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah, but she took a museum ship and turned it into like a workable ship. It's like that really, really dumb. It's that really great scene out of that really dumb movie, Battleship. It's like the best part of that stupid movie.
My mind is going
Where
through
they turn
files of data, and it's like, no data for this. It deleted it, Stu. Don't bring it up.
There's a museum aircraft carrier or like destroyer that like all these old guys work on, and they need to go fight the battleship aliens. Mike's about to play the noise, but yeah, there's a great scene of all the old guys like, turning their.
So as you were saying when we were, you run into the DARPA chief. This scene after beating this game and going back through it, this scene makes so much more sense as you're talking to him. And he's like, and you're sitting here to rescue him. So you're sitting there talking to him. And he's like, they got my codes. I wasn't prepared. They have Psycho Mantis, and he was able to get into my brain.
Oh,
and
fuck
everything
Psycho
seems
Mantis.
normal.
Yeah.
And you get into it. There's a line where he stops and grabs the arm. And he said, "Are they going to give in to the demands? Are the Pentagon going to give in to the terrorists?" And it just seems a little off. And it never occurred to me, like, well, of course it's off because. For those that don't know, the guy that you're sent in to rescue, he's already dead. The DARPA chief is gone. They murdered him by accident. Yes. And the guy you're talking to is the one Foxhound member that you don't fight, Decoy Octopus. And
he's so stupid. It's so dumb. Yeah. He dies without you realizing he fucking died.
He is the hardest boss that never was.
It's so fucking. He's the master of disguise who can disguise himself down to like the blood cell, the DNA code of anybody on the planet.
No sense.
But it makes sense why he fucking died because like he became the DARPA chief so effectively that he got killed by the fucking Foxdie virus. And it's like, well, then you're clearly not the best master of disguise if you disguise yourself as somebody like with cancer and you give yourself cancer as a result.
Well,
that would be a bad disguise.
Foxdie virus sent to kill him, though? Isn't that why it affects him?
That's why Snake was sent in the first place.
Yeah. And you know what's weird, too, is that Decoy Octopus is from Mexico, so it kind of makes sense why he'd want to disguise himself as somebody else.
Yeah.
That's not a political reason. I'm just saying.
I don't know how to take this. But since you're Hispanic, I don't understand where we're going, though.
What was your favorite part of the Shadow Moses compound? Was it the big wall around it?
Oh God!
We're just gonna see how much Mike has to cut out of this episode.
What would it be? Foxhound,
just like
Shadow Moses. So it'd be FASM, FASM instead of MAGA, FASM.
So that's what we were saying. And like the part when Decoy Octopus ends up, like he ends up having a heart attack. He's like, "What did you do? What did they do?" And no one has any idea people do, but you call everyone on your Kodak, or you call Naomi Hunter, I think it is, and they're like, "We don't know what happened. He had a heart attack. What's going on here?" And the whole thing is you were sent because you're carrying. So I want to say you're carrying the virus to infect these people to kill them.
Yeah,
they're kind of cleaning up.
Well, I think what it is they already have the virus, and you're like, what you have is the trigger, the thing that triggers it.
Yes.
To start, and that's why he has the heart attack.
Yes, because that becomes like a running theme in this game and other Metal Gears. Is anytime like part of the reason Solid Snake became very isolated. I mean, he was already pretty isolated to begin with, but part of the reason he becomes more isolated is because anybody who has the Foxdie virus will die when they come into contact with him.
Well, he didn't know that, right?
Leads to no, he doesn't know that until almost the end of this game, basically.
Okay,
it's like something that is almost completely unnecessary to this game. Like that's kind of what takes Solid, like Metal Gear Solid, from being your typical espionage game story or your typical action game story to like an espionage story, where there's all these different fucking things happening at once that you kind of have to like sort through. And like, okay, so like Foxhound they've taken over Shadow Moses, but also like Revolver Ocelot is there, and like with hindsight, you know that he's really working for like somebody else, or he's got this other plan, and Liquid Snake has also got these other plans, and also like DARPA might not be on your side, and the Pentagon might not be on your side, and they've got their own situation going on.
Nobody.
I think that kind of elevates the story a little bit.
Yeah.
Well,
Like
and Kojima's good at that freaking M. Night Shyamalan bullshit where it's just like out of nowhere. Oh my God, he has Solid Snake's arm, or freaking Liquid's arm. What? Bam. Oh my God, what? Liquid's back. What?
Yeah.
yeah.
It seems like Kojima plans ahead way better than M. Night Shyamalan does, though. Where he's like planting seeds in this game. I don't know how much of this is like planned ahead of time. I don't know if it's just strings they set up and they were like to deal with later. They just got lucky.
He was not allowed to talk
to
development staff on 5 at all.
Mhm.
Yeah, but like there's stuff set up in this game that doesn't pay off until like the end of Metal Gear Solid 4, which is like 30 years in the future, and like 3 major games past.
But I mean, granted, Escape from New York's only a movie, but in that movie, it doesn't really explain why it's so important to get the president. Like it says, like there's a reason, but that's not really the reason. It's never explained what the real reason was.
Yeah.
In Metal Gear games, it tells you exactly who's corrupt, what's going on, all these shadow conspiracies. You have it requires you to pay attention. Yeah.
Yeah. It tells you who's corrupt 3 times in a row, and all 3 times are like different reasons with greater consequences to them.
Right.
What do you mean Ukrainian delegates were there? When did Ukraine get involved?
I would never think of president being corrupt ever. There's no way that would.
Okay, so as we were saying, and then after
DARPA
right
now,
dies,
Solidus Snake would be a better. I'd rather have Solidus.
So as we were, so after DARPA chief dies, I like when Meryl, she breaks into the cell because she escaped her somehow, and she comes into you and she thinks you killed the DARPA chief, and I like that whole scene where the first time you meet and you have where he's like, you got rookie eyes, and she's threatening to pull the trigger. She doesn't know who he is at first, which makes sense.
He even says you have the safety on, rookie.
He says a lot of things.
Meryl
does
sucks.
Check out her butt, but yeah.
Oh God, there are so many.
Meryl is a kid pretending to be a soldier. She sucks. I hate Meryl.
I like Meryl, and then you have one of the first force fights in this game, which I don't like, where the guards keep coming in, a few of them. You gotta he's like shoot, and she doesn't shoot right away, and you got to shoot him with your shitty little SOCOM, and I don't like that.
I don't mind that part. Hey, just fucking aim at the door and you just mow them down. I never thought that part was that difficult.
In Twin Snakes, I am happy to shoot everything and everybody and anything Sons of Liberty on. But in this game, I hate aiming. I hate shooting. I just want to choke you and run on. Like, I don't want to fight.
I just want to choke you and run off.
There's some other underlying things there, but we'll talk about that later.
Mike, this is where we find out Mike is he's the real ninja who killed David Carradine.
Oh God.
That's what she said.
And like I mean, it is. I like Meryl a lot. I don't agree with some people's opinion about Meryl. I think she's a great character in this game, but
I understand
she's got a great butt. The game tells you multiple times.
I hate her.
I mean, she's essentially Snake's foil to say, you don't want to get into war. You don't look like a person of war. You weren't born into it, so you need to stay out of it. And that's why he keeps calling her rookie. And then and for some odd reason, Kojima is like, yeah, but I'm going to let Meryl get the drop on you at least 3 times in this game.
Yeah.
Yup.
Well, Snake is not the best soldier, okay?
Well, and Snake has also this bad habit of letting himself be vulnerable around females, especially when he's naked.
That's true.
As it turns out, that's a genetic trait of his, so runs in the family.
Oh shit.
And then I mean, there is a part where the game, and then after you have the whole part with Meryl, you have the thing that I don't like the scene that much when you find out that you have to bomb the walls. It's cool how they present it, but I don't like it where they're like, they had time to cement the walls, but they didn't have time to paint it. Look for the walls that haven't been painted over. When you're trying to save Kenneth Baker, the army chief.
I like that.
That whole room.
It feels very Scooby-Doo.
Yeah. Did anyone else originally, when they first played this, fall through the trapdoors?
Damn right I did.
Yeah,
I did too.
I can't remember. Been a long time.
I still fall through the trapdoors because I forget every fucking time the trapdoors.
I fell through one once because I was stupid. I ran over to grab a ration. And I'm like, oh, my rations are full. I ate one, ran back over it, and didn't even think about it. Went, ah! And I'm like, fucking game. But that was it.
What's that like? After that, you immediately find the Armstech president, Kenneth Baker. And this is the introduction of Revolver Ocelot, the character that everyone loses their shit over, and kind of rightfully so because he's awesome. You know, I love Ocelot. He's great.
Not in this game. In this game, I don't enjoy anything about him. I don't like him in this game.
Revolver
I like
Ocelot.
him because of hindsight.
Coolest.
First of all, his name is they call him Revolver, and he's just giving his fucking gun like a hand job. It's so weird. Where he's like, "This is the greatest gun ever made," and he's like stroking the barrel. It's like the Colt Single Action Army. That's why they call me Revolver. And every time he says that, I think they called you Revolver and not Colt. Colt's a name. Revolver's not a name.
I mean, I like it when you think about Snake Eater, but in this game, like, Twin Snakes does a better job of it, which I don't want to go through either. But in this game, it just doesn't. Partly because I hate that fight. I really don't enjoy that fight with him. When you're running around the square, Baker's tied up with wires all over the place and attached to C4. So if you shoot the wires, you blow up everything. If you run into the wires, you blow up everything. And the whole fight is you running around a square to get him to shoot at you with bouncing bullets, so he has to reload. And he goes, nothing's like the thrill of reloading, and you run after him to shoot him. Like, I just don't enjoy this fight.
I'm going to tell you a hint that I should have told you ahead of time, Mike, that makes that fight super easy. If you just chase Revolver Ocelot, like if you stay on his tail the entire time, that fight is so fucking easy, it's ridiculous.
I didn't do that. I waited.
If you just make sure you're like a couple feet behind him and just like get reasonably good at like dodging his shots, and he barely hits you. I think I got shot once that entire fight.
I got shot a few times from the bouncing bullets when I would hide. Didn't matter.
I like that he has bouncy bullets because it lends. Yeah.
Would bullets actually bounce though?
Yeah, they ricochet all the time.
Okay, I should know that, but I don't shoot things.
Especially bullets, like, because he makes a whole point to like explain everything about his fucking gun. He even says like, "Oh, I love the smell of cordite," which is what they use in bullets to like it's an explosive. But he's using like silver bullets, and silver is kind of a harder metal compared to lead. So yeah, it makes sense that they would like ricochet all over the place.
Okay, well, silver's a lot harder than lead. I want to say.
Fun fact for everybody: harder bullets ricochet more.
I mean, just everything about that fight. The only thing I do like is, also this game is harder in the beginning because once you start beating bosses, after every boss you beat, you get to hold more ammo, you get to hold more rations, you get more health. That is something I really like because it makes the second half of the game a lot easier.
I really wish it went back to. I really wish it went back to explaining the rations, like having things in them, like macaroni and cheese and chocolate and spaghetti.
I'm okay that it didn't.
I still think
I was actually about to say, because it doesn't quite make sense that like you get more life, but if they made it like you get different rations throughout the game and those increase your life bar, it would kind of make sense. Like you start off with something really shitty, and then by the end you're getting like hot macaroni and cheese.
Yeah,
it's like, oh, like this is so much better. I feel so much better now, and like your health bar clicks up one. That'd be so great, and it would fit so well.
Yeah,
but there's no venomous hamsters, so we don't need that in this one.
Oh, the dangerous Zanzibar hamster. But yeah, Kenneth Baker, who tells you that you have to have 3 key cards to deactivate the launch of a nuclear missile. Baker's just like, he's like twitching and shit because Ocelot's main skill is not his revolver. That's what he's known for. But Ocelot's main skill is that he's an interrogator. Mm-hmm. He's like, it comes up and it's like, Revolver Ocelot. Well, it says something about like interrogation torture specialist.
I can't remember that, but it makes sense.
He just fucks up Kenneth Baker to the point where like he is just completely gone, and he's like, you gotta have all these card codes, and I don't know what to do. I gave my card code to Meryl, and it's just like, god damn it, and then he dies of another fucking heart attack. And you're like, god damn it,
what do we do now?
Such a moment in this game where I'm like, fuck, okay, god, I gotta go do all this other shit. You're not making this easy for me. Terrorist rogue organization.
And like the thing with Baker where he's like, I had a card, but I gave it to that woman. The other part.
Yeah, we didn't
mention the best part
woman.
About the end of the fight. When the
ninja,
I
almost forgot.
and slices off Ocelot's hand right in mid bullshit. Slices off his hand. He slices all the ropes. All the bombs go off, and it is a cool ass scene. Unfortunately, I didn't see it this time because my game was glitching out while I was playing it. I had to make some changes afterwards, but apparently,
that's your first introduction to Gray Fox.
Yeah,
and he doesn't even tell you his name, right? It's just a ninja that shows up and then leaves.
You don't know who he is.
Yeah, and Baker's like, contact the girl. Ugh.
Well, he said something like,
okay,
it was a Black Ops project that he was I mean, they do talk a little about he's an exoskeleton. He was some soldier who was being kind of tortured or something and not really alive. They talk. I want to say they talk a little bit about that. They don't tell you who he is. It has to do with the Metal Gear series. They just kind of give a basic right before. And the Fox dies what kills Baker also.
I don't think they don't name him as Gray Fox at that point though. That comes later. That's when all that shit happens.
Okay,
because the part where you realize he's Gray Fox is after the Vulcan Raven fight.
God, is that late?
Yeah, because I think he originally calls you as just Deep Throat, and then later on, no.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
He does.
No. You're right. He calls himself Deep Throat.
Which, for those that don't know, is a
reference
to Nixon.
Yeah. Which I mean, even in the game, they say he's like, call me Deep Throat. He's like, you mean like the Watergate guy? It's like, yeah.
Yeah,
I like how really the ARMSEC president has this. For people who say games used to not be political, the ARMSEC president before he dies has this whole change of heart where he's like, we're arms techs people, we make money during war. God, I've made all my money off the arms trade. I'm such a bad guy. It's just it's so over the top. It's okay, yeah.
It's a cool part.
It is. It brings back the whole theme of Snake's not a hero kind of thing going on.
I mean, also, it's a little bit said before. After playing Metal Gear 2, this game makes so much more sense and is such a way more interesting title after you know at least one of the Metal Gear games before this.
Yeah. I mean, especially Metal Gear 2, because it ties into this directly when you find out more about Gray Fox. But then we meet the best character in the game, which I just want to talk about so much.
Otacon?
Yeah. You talk to Marilyn, she's like, you got to go. You're told that you have to go meet Otacon and you do the tank battle on the way there.
Tank battle was all right. I can't remember if you're supposed to use chaff grenades. I just threw grenades in them and it took care of the problem.
Yep.
But I played on easy, so
just
when
just trying to kill the.
That's when Vulcan Raven has his one famous line: "Snakes don't belong in Alaska."
Yeah, it's neither do ravens.
Yeah.
So I like how they show you the conversation he has with Liquid for some reason, and he just Vulcan Raven. Fucking, how do you explain Vulcan Raven? Vulcan Raven is a special ops member of Foxhound, but he's a giant. This is one of the first instances. Yeah, he's a shaman, and he has special shaman powers. This is one of the first characters in Metal Gear where it's Metal Gear 2 had some weird characters, but this is one of the first ones where you're okay, we're getting real weird with this. Magic is real in this universe.
Mm-hmm. Psycho Mantis too. If we haven't go that far.
Oh,
well, Psycho Mantis hasn't showed up yet though.
No. The third child.
You get Vulcan Raven, who is he's an Inuit shaman who talks about the Sioux, and he's in the Sioux language, Sioux means snake, and Liquid's just yeah, okay, yeah. All right, Vulcan. Yeah. Okay. Just kill the guy. Vulcan. It's fine. Yeah. It's just kill him, please. Stop monologuing to me. How does anybody in Metal Gear get anything done? Every time you call anybody, they have a 10-hour monologue.
Between paragraphs.
Yeah. Imagine I do a McDonald's in the Metal Gear universe.
I do the long conversations, when big things are happening, they have 5 minutes to talk in the codec. No, he won't kill me. He's gonna wait while we have this conversation. It'll be okay. Video game thingies.
Imagine every time you called Domino's, the guy had a 5-minute monologue about the etymology of dominoes and how dominoes fall one at a time. And I'm no hero. I'm just a pizza delivery man. It's that's great, but like I said, just no pepperonis.
I would love life a whole lot more. If everybody just had epic monologues, that would be a lot of things.
It'd be awful.
The tank fight's not bad. And when after you beat them and then find out the whole thing was a test to see how powerful you are. I want to say Raven's should I kill him, boss? No, let him keep going.
Yeah, I think it's I think it's to they let them have the key card too, but it's just to carry out their eventual objective at the end.
Yeah, the guard that
gets
blown out of the tank has the key card on him, which was kind of funny. And I like the fact
it was
after
all
Metal Gear 2,
up.
all the key cards just add on to one another. I don't have to switch each key card for certain doors. That was nice.
Exactly.
Fucking pissed me off back in that game.
Oh yeah.
At that point, I think this game is kind of filled with like great moments. I would say the scene after this is definitely in like my top 3 great moments. Maybe in the whole series.
The horror scene, like the straight up horror scene from a horror movie.
Yeah, the hallway.
Yeah, I mean, when I first saw that when I was a kid, I remember my buddy had showed it to me. I mean, that is such a creepy ass scene. For those that don't know what we're talking about, you come into a hallway, you see a couple of dead bodies of soldiers you've been fighting, just blood all over the wall. They're all sliced open, and you see a guy limping out, and all of a sudden something just grabs him and shoves something inside of him, inside his back, and hoists him up in the air. And you just see like a shadowy figure, camouflaged figure fighting, doing it. It is just a real creepy ass scene. Now it's not funny, but back then.
No, yeah, back in the day, like, I mean, even playing this around like the Metal Gear 3 or 4 years, which I think was like early 2000s, late 2000s, I want to say. That still like freaked me out. And I was just like, it's such a creepy moment where just all these people are dead and it's not your fault and you're not used to that. It's like, what's going on? And then you have to chase him into the room with Otacon, and Otacon famously straight up pees his pants.
I mean, I think I would too if some ninja who just sliced up every guarding me and just came into my door with a giant katana. I think I'd be like, oh my fucking god.
That's why I love Otacon. Is he's like the Emmerich family is. I mean, they're not a normal family by any stretch of the imagination. That family's so geniuses. Fucked up. But
one thing,
they're all evil geniuses. But in terms of personality, like their personalities make the most sense out of any Metal Gear character. Yeah, we're like he like like a fucking invisible cyborg ninja has just killed 30 people outside and is coming in the room to kill you. It's like, yeah, of course you'd piss yourself. That makes total sense to me. You're like, yeah, like, oh my god, I'm going to die. This is awful. What is happening? I just want to work on my robots.
You're not wrong.
Go hide in this locker while these guys fight, while some weird soldier who I think is also here to kill me fights this invisible ghost.
And just that, I mean, then he locks himself in the locker. That fight is fun too. Like I knew the trick to it. Like I want to say when you first fight him, you might start shooting at him, and if you keep shooting, he's just going to block all your shots. You can't hurt him. You have to disarm yourself and start punching and kicking him.
Mm-hmm. Hurt me more, Snake. Hurt me more.
Yeah. God damn it. I want to feel the pain, Snake. Do you remember? Do you remember the pain?
It's still cool. I still had fun with that fight. I still smiled. I understand a lot more of that fight, why you're fighting hand-to-hand combat. It all makes sense now, because the last time you fought this character, it was hand-to-hand combat, because he put bombs in all your equipment.
I still saw it as slappers, but yeah, basically.
Slappers only.
Slappers only.
It's a good boss fight.
Yeah. That's when you find out he's Gray Fox.
And for those that don't know,
after that situation, that's when like that whole... Yeah.
Gray Fox is from Metal Gear 2. He's one of the people you kill right near the end of the game. And if you don't know what we're talking about, go listen to our Metal Gear 2 episode.
Do you find out that he is Frank Yeager at that point? I think that still is.
Maybe
like,
not yet,
on. But whatever. Yeah, he's Frank Yeager, and that's a whole like separate story beat.
He knows that he's Gray Fox. He knows that he fought him before. Like he starts realizing who he is.
I think it's finally revealed at the last fight of the game, though. Essentially.
Yeah. Because this is the part where like you call Naomi about it, and she's kind of like weird about it. She's like, oh, like Gray Fox, like I don't. Who's that? I've never heard of him before. And everyone's like, you haven't? Like he's like, aren't you supposed to know these things? And she's like, I don't know. And she like hangs up on you. Okay, well that's definitely gonna be a thing later. Can't worry about it now. And then you come across Otacon and you talk to him, and like one of his first lines to you is he's like, are you with those other soldiers? He's like, I work alone. And Otacon's like, oh, you're an otaku like me. It's just like one of my Japanese animes.
It's such a stupid.
The reason I love
like
Otacon so
much, but he's dumb.
He is dumb, but the reason I think I love him so much is because I think a lot of people who are like diehard Metal Gear fans already know this, but for those who don't know, David Hayter, who played Solid Snake, and Christopher Randolph, who played Otacon, They both confirmed this at this point, but they both played their characters as if those two people were falling in love with each other in the game. And it's so funny because they have so many like really funny awkward lines. Like, do you think love can bloom even on a battlefield, Snake?
Oh God.
So many fucking weird awkward lines where Otacon's like I like helping Snake out and like coming to his rescue.
I mean, it does fit. Because I never thought of it that way, because I know what he's talking about. He's talking about with Sniper Wolf and things. But now that you mention it, I completely can see how they played that.
Yeah, it's great because like it all comes down to essentially Otacon thinking that Snake likes anime, and that's the reason he like immediately decides we're gonna be best friends forever because I've misinterpreted what you said.
Also, hey, we could say in the '90s that people weren't really into anime as much as they are now.
But then they even like go through the extra effort of playing like anime clips in the game as Otacon is explaining why he wants to make giant robots because he just loves Gundam so much.
Hey, that's a good reason to make giant robots, though.
I mean, it's as good a reason as any.
I think in that same room too. Yeah, you're gonna mention the same thing I was gonna mention, Mike.
Go ahead. You go for
then
it.
In that room, there's a poster of Police Knots.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like an anime game.
Which meant nothing to us at the time. Because that game never came here.
Yep.
It never came here, by the way.
I like Otacon's whole like breakdown where you have to explain to him that Metal Gear is a nuclear capable tank. And he's like, no, I just built it because I thought it was cool. And he's like, you're like, no, it can fire nuclear warheads. He's like, no, it's supposed to shoot down nuclear warheads. And he just loses it. He's like, damn you. Damn this all. My family is cursed. I didn't want to work with nukes, and now I'm doing exactly what I didn't want to do. My grandfather worked on the Manhattan Project, and my dad worked on nukes, but we'll get to that in another game.
That wasn't established yet.
Yeah. How great would it have been if he had said that, though? He's like, and my dad was like all about nukes, but that's not going to happen for 4 more titles.
I want to say essentially, though, what happens is they want to work together and stop the Foxhound, right?
Yeah.
And Otacon goes off and he says that he's going to work on something. I think it's his stealth equipment. And then that's when Snake calls Meryl to say, okay, well, we got to go to this other part of the base, which leads to a very interesting room where Meryl starts acting weird.
There's a couple parts I want to say before that. One, to call Meryl, you have to look at the back of the box to see the codec case.
Yeah.
Codec code. Which, for all the people who rented this game back in 1995 or 8, whenever the hell this came out, that must have fucking sucked.
Well, unless you have photogenic memory, then you could have just remembered it the first time. It was told to you.
It is?
You mean a photographic memory?
Yeah, photographic memory. And
I have a photogenic memory.
Baker tells you he can't remember it.
The what?
Baker can't remember the code. When you ask him, he's like, oh, I forgot. It's on the back of your case.
Yeah, check the back of the CD case. And
I'm pretty sure there's another way you can get it. And also on Easy, I think it just gives it to you, doesn't it?
No, it doesn't.
Oh.
I played on Easy. I had to look it up. I use the internet.
Is it on the actual CD as well?
Not the CD, but it's on the PS1 case.
There is. I'm with Stefan here. I think there was another way to get it if you didn't have a case, but I can't remember what it is.
Yeah, I don't remember, but I think there is.
It's not like, does somebody call you? Like, if you don't do it for like 10 minutes, does somebody call you and say they have it?
That's what it is. Yep, you're right.
Okay, so you can progress even if you don't know it. All right.
Yeah.
And then when you do run, when you do run into Meryl, has one of my favorite quotes because when you find Meryl, you ask her if she has one of the cards that Baker had taken. Baker had given her, and she's like, yeah, they didn't find it when they searched me. And he's like, how'd they do that? And her line is, women have more hiding places than men, is the line.
Also, Snake swallowed a fucking pack of cigarettes to get in the base.
Hey, there's no logic in this game.
How could you have gotten this in here? Like, well, I could have swallowed it like you did or hid it literally anywhere else. And also, it's a big-ass fucking card key, so I don't even know what she's implying.
I have ideas.
That's not how the human body works, Meryl.
Well, as an adult, certain ideas came to me this time that did not come to me when I was playing this game the first time.
She taped it to her arm and pretended it was another fucking henna tattoo.
Yeah, we'll go with that. Not what I'm thinking, but we'll go with that.
But that Psycho Mantis fight is kind of famous. For like The game gets fucking weird. It's like the best way of putting it.
It's annoying the way I had to play it too, because I couldn't exactly switch my controller port.
Mm.
So
I was just gonna say there's another way to do that fight.
Yeah.
Well, I beat it that way. I was able to make my game think that both controller 1 and controller 2 were the same buttons. So it would so then he couldn't read my controller.
Okay.
Oh, there's another way to do it where Campbell will call you and ask you if controller port 2 is broken. And then what you can do is just he'll tell you to shoot the statue head.
Oh.
It'll break the mind control.
What does that do? It confuses him or something?
It breaks his mind control somehow.
Okay. It's kind of implied that like even though this was like kind of retconned, how Psycho Mantis somehow needs that room to control people, even though that's not how his powers work in later games.
Not at all.
That room gets even more bizarre later in Twin Snakes, the remake of this game, because then you have all the like producers and Kojima's face and everyone laughing on all the pictures on the wall.
We'll save that in case we ever talk about that game.
I don't think we're gonna play Twin Snakes because it's just the remake of this game.
Yeah, it's the same exact thing.
I almost played Twin Snakes instead of this game because they're different enough, but they're also basically just the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we fucking good too.
It is. We should have just played Twin Snakes instead, but too late now.
Yeah, it's a little late.
Let's all stop. Let's just stop this podcast and we'll go play Twin Snakes. And then...
Yeah, but basically, if no one knows what we're talking about, Psycho Mantis, like you literally have to switch the ports of your controller to another one, or else you can't continue the fight.
Yeah.
Because of his mind control, and he can also read your memory card and tell you games that you've been playing.
I can read your mind.
Yeah.
It's like the stupid cyanide pill in freaking Snake Eater whenever you're walking down the river.
Yeah.
I like that part though.
I like how
even he can only read your memory card for Konami time. He go, you like Castlevania?
Yeah.
You played Suikoden. That's about it.
But
And
God,
if you have police, JD, you just said it.
Please not.
Yeah, if you have a save from there, you get special message from Kojima.
Yeah, doesn't he say like you have good taste or something?
Yeah, something like that.
It's imagine being the first kid to play this game when it came out. Like you're the lucky kid whose parents bought you the fucking PlayStation. You got Metal Gear day one, and you're playing this game, and you've been playing Konami games forever, and Psycho Mantis is reading off your memory cards. I can only imagine you just like shit your pants at that moment.
I would fucking die.
Yeah.
What the fuck? What's happening?
I also think you're wrong, Mike. I think in Twin Snakes he can also read Nintendo games on that point.
Yeah, on that one he can, but on this one he can't.
Yeah.
Also in Twin Snakes, you have to plug it into 2, 3, and then finally 4 to get him not to read your movement.
Oh, I'll plug it into 2, 3, and 4, baby.
But in this game, you just switch the port to. But I didn't know about the statue thing until I was looking it up because I was like, how do I do this? Because I can't accept my controller, and that's when they told me about the statue thing. But I didn't try it because I got it to work the other way.
I didn't know about the statue thing either. If I couldn't do the controller, I would just be like, well, I guess I'm just fighting Meryl now.
Yeah, like that's also another cool thing about the fight. When you come in with Meryl, he mind controls Meryl, and there's a couple different times you have to knock her out to keep fighting him because she'll shoot herself at one point, and it will hurt her, and if she dies, you lose.
Yeah.
And she's revealing feelings about Snake that she has, that she's kind of falling in love with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, because everyone falls in love within 5 minutes after they witness someone just shoot a bunch of people and murder them in cold blood. But hey,
I still remember on episode 7 of when fucking DJ was still on the podcast, I was talking about Metal Gear essentially just being like the biggest power fantasy ever.
and I'm just gonna say, like, Metal Gear is just kind of the women in Metal Gear just all have Stockholm syndrome.
Except for the boss, who is one of the greatest female characters in fucking video game history, and I'll fight anybody who's
she is.
I will give everybody that, like, yeah, Quiet is a fucking terrible female character in a game. Where it's like, oh, she has photosynthesis, and it's like, no, like, it's just you wanted to have like a hot babe in your game. Just admit that. But then like the fucking boss is, oh god. Well, if we ever do Snake Eater, us talking about the boss is going to be like a fucking hour.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying, how cool is this character? How great is this character that like legitimately passes like the Bechdel test?
God damn it.
So I do agree with the whole Stockholm syndrome with Meryl. I mean, that kind, even though you're not her kidnapper, but it does fit.
No, you're her hero though. Like when you
essentially kidnap her heart. So
that's true, I guess. But when you first meet her, like she gushes over, like, "Oh wow, you're Solid Snake. Like you're the best operative ever." And it kind of raises questions of, isn't Solid Snake supposed to be like a special ops, like quiet guy who
nobody would know exists?
Yeah, nobody should know Solid Snake exists, but also the world knows Solid Snake exists and is like, he's the coolest guy ever. Meryl's like, oh my god, you're my hero. I wanted to be you when I grew up. And I'm not like most girls.
I mean, well, she was related to Campbell, so I mean, I can take that.
I guess. I hate Meryl.
I've noticed. So you must have enjoyed the part when she gets shot in the with a sniper rifle, huh?
No, because she's just a fucking idiot about that shit too. She fucking runs out and she gets shot. Like, you know that one of the fucking people is Sniper Wolf. You know, Meryl knows who these people are, and she should know them better than you because she snuck into Foxhound and has been secretly working with them as a spy. She should know these characters better than anybody.
For those that don't know, you enter a room with a long hallway going to a radio tower, and she walks past really cool bunch of mines, and then she's walking down the straight area. She turns around to talk to Snake, and she takes like what, 3 or 5 sniper shots? Takes quite a few. But she tries to be Boromir from Lord of the Rings, essentially.
Well, yeah.
You can actually slap Meryl before you go in there too, and she'll slap you back. And one of the cool things. Well, I mean, it's not cool to slap women, but one of the cool things in the game,
Meryl's like not like other girls.
Yeah, if you wear a bra. If you slap Meryl and you immediately go into a box, wolves will come up to you and piss on you.
The baby wolf will piss on you, I think.
Basically, for being that way.
Like, something I've noticed, I don't think I noticed this before, is when Meryl gets shot, it looks like she gets shot through her henna tattoo on her arm. And something about that is just so satisfying to me. It'd be like, yeah, you dumbass. Like, who fucking, god damn it, who fucking, like, my grandfather's coming to town. He's my hero. I'm gonna get like the fucking Army Rangers tattoo painted on my arm to show how cool I am. Why? You would like, your grandfather would slap the shit out of you for that shit.
Watch, this whole time it was like a licking stick tattoo.
That's what she said. She painted it on. But this is also after like she gives you the gun and she goes on this whole rant about how she's like, I'm more comfortable with. She's talking about the Deagle that she picks up, and she's like, this is a Deagle 500 Action Express. I'm more comfortable with this than I am with a bra. I've been shooting this since I was a little girl, and it's like, you're gonna fucking die.
Do people call it a Deagle, not a Desert Eagle? I've never heard the phrase Deagle before.
Really?
Really?
Yeah, that's shorthand for it.
Okay, well, I guess I don't come from the South, so maybe that's why.
It's like when people say eagle or eagle. You see that eagle?
It's, I don't know if that's a Southern thing. I think they call it the Deagle in Israel, where it's made too.
Okay, maybe it's just because we don't have. I've never been around guns very much.
Because they call it a Deagle. They call them a Deagle in Payday.
Yeah, I think I started calling it a Deagle from like Call of Duty 4. It's also kind of a pointless gun. I'm sorry for anybody out there. It's just there's no point for it.
Unless you're playing GoldenEye.
Unless you're playing
Putting
GoldenEye,
holes in houses, that's all.
Or like Resident Evil 7.
Yeah.
Then it makes sense. Just gonna say it. Just gonna say the Jericho 941 is better in every conceivable way, and I'll just let that sit out there, and somebody can get mad at me for it. Somebody's gonna call me a
cowboy. That whole scene though, like when she gets shot, I felt sad. Like it hit me this time when I was playing through this game. Like I felt it when she takes the shot and she's telling you, she's like, Snake, I'm not gonna make it. And she's ready to shoot herself in the head. She reaches for her gun and she shoots her in the hand so she can't grab the gun. It's a scene, all right. Like it's
See, you're focusing on
like,
Meryl.
Kill her.
You're focusing on Meryl. I'm focusing on Snake, who's saying, shut the fuck up and stop. Like, just stop. She's like, I'm going to shoot myself in the head so that you can escape. And Snake is like, just stop moving. Like, we both know that this is a tactic by this sniper. She even has the line of like, this is a classic sniper's tactic. I'm just going to shoot myself. It's like, that doesn't fucking accomplish anything, Meryl. Just shut the fuck up. You're in the way. You're in the way of this fight happening.
This whole scene is played out worse too when you realize the fact that if you didn't pick up the sniper rifle to fight back, you have to run all the way to the back or the beginning of the game.
But you can't get it before.
Exactly. You have to have the key card or whatever.
Yeah, so you don't have a choice but to go back.
I think there's a way you can do it to where you get it earlier.
Yeah, there is. I can't quite remember how, but you can kind of skip that shit.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe it's when you get one of the key cards, you can run back and get it sooner than I did.
This is the part of the game where Otacon kind of started to annoy me a little bit. Because
Otacon annoys me entirely in this game.
I love Otacon, but yeah, like Meryl gets shot by Sniper Wolf, who for some like Snake is just like, I'll just surrender because that's the only solution because Meryl's a fucking idiot. So then Sniper Wolf like comes
like
out
Meryl.
and captures you.
Man.
Meryl sucks. She sucks so bad. She's a child. She is an escort mission. She is a child. She is the Ashley Graham of this game, where she's just like, oh, Leon, help
she
me,
was
Leon.
kind of young. She was born 1987. So
Yeah,
when this
she's a
game's
fucking
taking
child.
place,
She's like 12.
man, she was born the same year I was born.
Yeah,
I like
don't
her
you
more
feel
now.
like a fucking creep now because you're like 30-year-old Snake, and she's like, I love you, have sex with me, and you're like, shut the fuck up, I'm trying to kill people.
Once again, Kojima, you pervert.
Yeah,
You let me see her butt.
yeah.
Well, pixelated, but hey.
Yeah, but then like Sniper Wolf comes out and knocks you out, and I think this isn't where is this where Liquid? Oh yeah. So this is where you're being tortured by Ocelot, and like you meet Liquid for the first time, really, and he has a British accent for some reason that's never quite explained.
Yeah. We should
Like
explain
ever.
that you do get captured and how that's why you're being tortured.
After your first fight with Sniper Wolf, which is stupid, after you get the sniper rifle, you walk up to a door and he puts his hands up, even though I've been stopped many times by guards before, and this time he lets them arrest him, or not arrest him, but capture him, and also Sniper Wolf scratches him across the face to leave her mark on her prey.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like Dylan said, there's a pretty lady there, and that's the Snake family's weakness is a pretty lady. So
Not wrong.
like he's actively flirting with her, and she's like, I'm going to kill you. Like, you understand that I'm going to kill you. And he's like, I'd be fine getting killed by someone like you. And she's like,
Who
she's
says that?
she's like way over the top. It's just like, it's funny because it's so over the top sexual, but it's really bad polygons. And so it's like,
Yeah, baby.
Nothing
I want
sexy
to
in
do
this
that.
game anymore. But you know, back then it was hot. Okay, somehow those polygons are hot back then.
Oh, it's
Damn,
still
bro.
hot to me, baby.
I love all three of your angles. Yeah, like you get captured, you're in the fucking
That's what I
chair, and Liquid is like, hello, brother. And you're like, we're not brothers. And he's like, we look exactly alike. We're definitely brothers. She's like, okay, yeah, we might be brothers.
That's when it gets weird. But also, we skipped a very important
This is where it
scene when you
What if from that
run into
point this kind of
Meryl.
turned into Step Brothers?
Yeah.
When you run into Meryl the second time, when you follow her into the women's bathroom, you have to find the guard. You can look at their ass and how she walks, which I just ran into whoever and see if the alert mode went off or not, and then I found the right person. Followed her in the restroom, and she has no pants on. And then that's when she says, "You got a great butt."
It's like, I thought you liked my eyes. I mean, your eyes are okay too. I like all of you. And it's like, God damn it, just fucking kill people. Like, what are you doing here, Solid Snake?
So I
You
just
also-
wanted to bring that up before
When
we
you go
moved
into
on
the
too far.
bathroom, Solid Snake is like, Meryl, like, I need the key card. And she's like, this is the women's room. You shouldn't be in here. It's like, we're in the middle of a fucking war right now. Come on,
Where's
Meryl.
the elevator in this women's room? I thought all women's room Metal Gear games have elevators.
Oh,
Metal Gear 2 reference for those that are like, what the fuck?
Dude, we skipped the fucking elevator, didn't we?
The elevator's
No,
coming up.
no.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
later.
it's coming
Okay.
up.
Okay. That's my
we're
favorite
talking about
scene
the
in entire
torture
series.
chamber where you have to do a stupid mini game with Ocelot electrocuting you. And you have to keep tapping circle. Otherwise, if you fail or if you submit, he'll kill Meryl.
I mean,
don't like that.
essentially, this is the first room, though, where we should explain you do come face to face with the actual villain of this game, who is Liquid, who
Yeah.
is basically when you guys are talking, he's like, I'm bad clone, and you're good clone. You're goody little two shoes.
It is the exact scene from Evil Dead, but
You got the
Liquid has
good
the gun.
genes. I got the bad genes. Kinda.
Good,
These
bad.
were
I'm the guy
reception.
with the PAL card.
Yeah, exactly. And I like how Mike is like, that's where the game gets weird after you fight the fucking magical shaman and the psychic.
Hey, it got weird to me for some reason when they're brother.
Brother. No, you have to say it right. Hello, brother.
I do like the way he says it. I like Liquid, and Liquid looks like you, but with a mullet, blonde hair, and I just like Liquid.
Liquid's great. I wish he was in more games. Instead of just the two of them and kind of the third one.
Well, and fun fact about the torture thing, that little mini game there. If you submit to the torture, you actually catch Johnny Suzuki's cold.
Oh, really?
You do.
I have a quick question about Foxhound. And this just might like ruin the dynamic of that group, but
It's okay.
Ocelot is like the expert interrogator. That's his role. That's like what he's known for, is he's an expert interrogator. They have a psychic on their team. And they even say earlier that like Psycho Mantis is the one who interrogated Kenneth Baker. Why do you need 2 expert interrogators on a team?
I think they do bring up a fact about like how some of them have had conditioning, like mentally, so he physically has to break them or something.
Did we talk about Meryl's conditioning?
Everybody has conditioning in this game. Everybody's just, they have an issue.
Yeah, but Meryl's is the dumbest. Meryl went through psychotherapy when she was younger to destroy all interest in men, so that way she wouldn't be distracted by all the hot guys.
I love you, Snake.
Yeah, it doesn't work out too well.
It's real dumb. and that's like, I can't even blame that on Meryl. That's just like Kojima's like stupidness of like, well, it doesn't make any sense that a girl wouldn't fall in love with Snake. I have to explain why she would fall in love with Snake.
She does fall in love with Snake.
Yeah, so even his explanation like wears off. Like, oh, it's just Snake is so sexy that even if she had psychotherapy to destroy her interest, she still loves Snake because Snake is so cool.
Yeah, the other important part about the interrogation scene too is that if you do fail it, other than the cold that you get, it dictates who survives at the end of the game between the 2 main characters that are partnering up with you. Whether it's, I'm not going to say right now, we'll get to it later, but
we'll get to it. Yeah,
it determines the ending of the game basically.
Yeah, we're essentially, by the way, like this is around like the disc 2 era. So I will say, like, we are like halfway through the game, but the game gets a lot quicker after this. So don't worry, this isn't going to be a 5-hour episode.
It wouldn't be anyway because I'd cut it in half at that point. So
it's I mean, like, it feels like the game could end here and it would be a full fucking game. I always forget how long Metal Gear Solid is. It just keeps going.
To be continued.
But I want to talk about this real quick because before you get away and you get all your stuff back, you are put into a room, a prison cell. And I'm kind of curious what everyone did when they got in that room, because I know when I first got in there, there's like a guard patrolling outside.
Johnny Sasaki.
Yeah, Johnny Sasaki. And
not
then
a guard.
And I literally,
you mean Johnny Shit Pants Sasaki?
Yeah, and I was like, oh, I know what to do. I'll just go hide under the bed, and then he'll think I like disappeared. And as soon as you do that, Johnny Sasaki's like, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah. I like just to like start punching, and he's like, stop that, quit that, knock it off.
Yeah.
Well, another fun fact, Johnny Sasaki was actually one of the developers on the game, and he was super lazy, and apparently he just shit his pants a lot. And so as like a punishment, they were like, okay, guess what? You're permanently Johnny Shit Pants Sasaki.
That
Have
makes
fun.
So much more sense as to why. That just explains so much why he's in every fucking game, or like his family is in every fucking game at least.
That
like,
is
fucking
why.
Hell, he shows up in Metal Gear Solid Phantom Pain, and that takes place like in 1983. You come across like his dad, who's also shitting his pants.
Yeah, I did not know any of this. Wow.
That explains so much, and it also explains that by the time of Metal Gear Solid 4, it's like somebody on the team must have gone to Kojima and been like, "Hey, maybe we should like drop this whole Sasaki thing and apologize by having him marry Meryl or something, giving him a happy ending after all this torture we put him through."
Which, in the end, he just looks like Solid Snake, basically.
To be fair, if you're so lazy that you just shit your pants, fucking fix your life. Jesus Christ.
Wear a diaper.
Okay, there's multiple ways to get out of
diaper.
that room. One, if you sit there long enough, I think Gray Fox will come and rescue you. But plus, also, there's one point when Johnny Sasaki goes to the bathroom, and you can either you'll get some food from Otacon. You can either equip the ketchup bottle.
Don't say it like that. Don't say Johnny Sasaki goes to the bathroom, because that's not what he does. What he does is,
oh, my stomach.
Yeah, he says, oh, my stomach.
He fucking goes as a diarrhea meltdown.
He runs to the bathroom clutching his pants as if he is in the process of shitting himself.
It basically becomes a Tums festival in there.
It is a Tums festival. That is a reference that Mike will not get.
Nope, he will not
at all. It's a Tums festival.
So which way did you guys use to get out of that room? I did the ketchup bottle thing.
I always go for the ketchup.
It's funny.
Yep.
I go for the ketchup because of that one episode of Trigun. That's like the main reason I do it.
What you do is you get one item, you can equip the item, lay down on the ketchup bottle, which will then make it look like you died. He'll see you, he'll rush in the room, and then you can beat him up and escape. Otherwise, you can hide underneath the bed. He'll come in the room because you're missing, then you can attack him off.
That's also the point where you learn about where Otacon tells you about Anderson and Decoy Octopus, because you wake up in the cell and the DARPA chief has been dead in there for days, and it's like, what? I don't understand. I like that
when you first find out.
I love that Otacon is like, he's so thoughtful because he loves Snake, obviously, but like Otacon is like, I want to do a favor for Snake. I can't get him out, but he might be hungry. So I'll bring him like a packet. I'll bring him an entire bottle of ketchup. And then it's like some chips or something too, right? It's not like something like that. It's like 2 condiments he grabbed from the fucking break room. Like, oh, thanks, Emmerich. You're really pulling out all the stops for me. Emmerich is like single-handedly the most competent and most incompetent person. Like, I'm a genius. Here, you can survive off ketchup.
I mean, it works for escaping, which
it does. Yeah. That's just cut out that noise, or leave it in now that I've said cut it out. Yeah. I really enjoy that idea of, I'm gonna give you this ketchup, and without thinking about it, without Snake saying anything about it, you have to figure out that like, oh, I can use this as fake blood and convince the guard to come in here. I like that there's a lot of different solutions to that problem.
Me too. And you get a lot of storyline to it at this point, I want to say. You were saying about Decoy Octopus and just kind of more about what's going on. Like throughout the game, one thing we hadn't mentioned is when you do get the PAL card from Marrow, they keep talking about you need 3 cards to shut down Metal Gear after it's been activated. And you only have the 1 key card, which we will get into. You keep bringing that up constantly throughout this game.
Yeah,
it's a big part.
Yeah,
and then we come to one of my most annoying fight. I hate the second fight with Sniper Wolf. I hate both of them. I did not like this fight at all. Wait, no, I'm skipping something, aren't I? I'm skipping the towers.
You're skipping behind D, yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about the tower. The towers are next. The towers, okay, I understand the reference now in Metal Gear 2 where you run up the tower and you're being chased. They did the same in this game, but I got shot so many times and I fucking hated running up the damn towers. Like, I was just getting irritated. It was my least favorite part. By far, least favorite part.
Early 3D game, it's just, I mean, come on. Like, they weren't the best physics for games, any of that fun stuff either. So, like, getting up and down those stairs was a pain in the ass.
It goes back and forth between, like, I don't want to give all the credit to Kojima because he had a very, very talented team with him too. But like I always want to credit them with like coming up with very cool mechanics and working around. I think that team was particularly good at working around like what was available on systems and coming up with interesting ways of using those mechanics. But then like every now and then they'll throw in a fight where it's like, we weren't quite there yet. I see what you were going for, but it was a little too. It was pushing it a little too hard, and that fight is definitely one of those instances of we weren't quite there with our technology. Like in any other game, this would be kind of a quick time event, probably.
Yep.
Or you'd have like cover that you could hide behind along the way.
Because like, you know, one thing with this game, it's hard to shoot up in a way, or you can't really aim. You just hold up and he just shoots at whatever, kind of auto aim. And that part I had to go through like 4 or 5 rations on easy, and I was getting really, really irritated with the game and myself. And I just didn't. And then now I understand it's a reference to Metal Gear 2 because you have a scene just like that in Metal Gear 2. And then when you do finally get to the top of the tower, that's when you have to fight the Hind D that we were referencing earlier. Which I don't like this fight either. Part of the game.
It's definitely my least favorite part of it. I think it's my least favorite part of the whole game. Which is funny because like the end of the Sniper Wolf fight is like one of my favorite parts of the game, where like she has her whole monologue, because this is I'm gonna just say Assassin's Creed stole their whole like monologue death system from Metal Gear. Fucking every time I play an Assassin's Creed game, like when you kill somebody, like as they're dying, they decide to tell you their life fucking story, and that's such a Metal Gear thing to do.
It is.
It's like, you've killed me, Snake. Now allow me to explain why I am the way I am. I was a Kurd, you see.
And then it starts to ask that question too with Emmerich. He's like, "What are you fighting for? What am I fighting for?" Because he's in love with Sniper Wolf. Yeah,
he is in love with Sniper Wolf. And why is he in love with Sniper Wolf? Because she let him feed the wolves.
Yep. And she's hot.
To be fair, and she's hot. Yeah. To be fair, like she was probably like the nicest to him out of anybody there. But like, yeah, she's just like the hot girl, and Otacon's obsessed with her.
Well,
dangerously
that's
so.
Stockholm syndrome too. I mean, he is captured by them, but she's kind of being nice to him. So it's another type of toxic thing where you're falling in love with a person that you shouldn't be. Tends to be a theme of
Sniper
these
Wolf
games.
Sniper Wolf's falling in love with Snake. Because Ocelot has that whole weird line where he's like once she marks a target, she'll never let him go. Some say she even falls in love with the target before she kills them.
Yeah,
and she's like clearly in love with you when she's dying.
Sleeping with the enemy.
If only there was some modern equivalent to Kurds that we could pull on. I can't think of anything.
I can't either.
I'm not sure where you're going with this, but I don't know if I want to know where you're going with this. So we kind of we did talk over the Hind D fight quickly, but you fight on top of a roof and he's shooting missiles at you and it's stupid. That's all you need.
I love it's stupid.
I hate it.
I love at the end of that fight where like Otacon shows up and you're like, Otacon, what are you doing here? And he's like, I took the elevator. And you're like, there was an elevator?
Okay, I did like that part. That was funny.
A nice little bit of like levity after that stupid fucking fight. But then like the reason Snake doesn't know there's an elevator actually comes into the story too, which is cool.
Oh yeah, it's a callback to Metal Gear 2. Weight capacity.
Yeah. God, that's my favorite moment, I think, in the whole series. I'd say I've got like my top 5 moments in the whole series, and 2 of them are in Metal Gear Solid, maybe 3. That fucking weight limit thing. You're talking to Otacon on the codec, and he's like, "That's weird. The weight sensor's going off in the elevator. It didn't go off when I was on it previously." He's like, "Well, how heavy are you?" And he's like, "I'm barely 135." Snake, wait, the other 4 special camouflage units are gone. They're on the elevator with you.
I think that's where they even go out of their way to like animate his face, like how he gets closer to the codec and he's screaming into it. Yeah,
it's like the only time that happens. I like
that scene. I like that scene. I don't like the fight, but the scene is cool.
So they make a point in the beginning of the game to say you're the only one that can hear the codec because it's for stealth reasons, right?
Mm-hmm. And
yet, when he says you're not alone on the elevator, for some reason, that's when the guys know to yell, "Fuck you, Snake! We're gonna kill you!" How do they know? How do they know you've hung up on Hal?
I never thought about that, but you have a good point.
Oh god, that fight is so cool and so fucking annoying, but so cool.
Yeah, the setup is cool.
Yeah, the fight itself sucks, but it's legitimately like, oh shit.
I mean, it's also another reference to Metal Gear 2 with the 4 Horsemen, is what this is. Mm-hmm. I mean, God, he stole so much from Metal Gear 2 for this game because nobody would have known because no one played Metal Gear 2 because it didn't come here.
Basically, I think I mentioned this in the Metal Gear 2 episode, but basically, Kojima has been trying to like, for as long as he was at Konami, he was trying to like perfect this one game. So it comes down to all Metal Gears are essentially him trying to like build off of this formula and just make it better.
Oh yeah, I think
varying degrees of success.
He succeeds too in his last game at Konami.
Yep, he said that 5 was supposed to be like the exact thing that he wanted it to be
from the beginning.
I appreciate 5, but it's almost like too much.
It is, and I get that, but it does. It's actually like a survival espionage stealth. Yeah. You're worried about your other troops. You're worried about all these other things.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe if 5 got finished properly, I would enjoy it more.
Yeah.
True.
Maybe if they hadn't like literally locked their team in a room and arguably committed several crimes.
No, never. Not in the name of video games ever would that happen.
Yeah, it was never talked about at a Game Awards show or anything.
Yeah.
But this essentially
Sniper Wolf fight.
I'm surprised Mike didn't play the noise, but essentially this is getting you into the end game where it's very Resident Evil. you go down into the underground and take many elevators to get there. And eventually, when you get to the bottom, there's all these ravens flying around and an eerie noise playing for music.
So that's Raven territory.
Yeah. And you go into the Kula.
Yeah, why the fuck? Vulcan Raven is an Inuit. He's like he's an Alaskan shaman native, but he has like almost a Jamaican accent, and I don't understand it. I don't know if like Kojima and his team they never heard, like they didn't even like bother researching Alaskan accents. Just like, oh, hello, Snake. It's like, what?
Good.
Welcome to the Kula. I am Vulcan Raven.
Well, there's actually a couple of ways to take him down in this fight. How did everyone take him down?
I shot him in the back with stingers.
Okay, I think the most common one is either that or setting landmines or claymores. That's what they are.
Claymores.
Yeah, claymores.
Yep. Stingers. Same.
It's another one of those situations where there's like a lot of different solutions to it. I guess technically, if you really were like a fucking masochist, you could probably punch him to death too. But I don't know who the fuck is out there doing that.
Yeah.
No.
1-2 kick to the dick.
1-2 kick to the dick. Works every time.
Wait, what episode was that from when we did that?
That's my purse.
I remember that, but I can't think when we said that joke.
It was Origins,
Parasite Eve, right?
No, it was Origins. The first boss.
Yeah,
fight.
You're right. Yeah. The Silent Hill Origins. Not Silent Hill. Yeah, no. Wait, what? I'm having a stroke.
Yeah, Silent Hill Origins, right?
It was Silent Hill Origins.
I smell toast.
Yeah.
1-2 kick to the dick. Works every time. It's also kind of. I mean, that's also kind of how like the fighting in Parasite Eve works, Dick.
Yeah.
That's how the fighting works in Resident Evil, basically. Actually, that is the Overblood fighting style as well.
Oh god, that was the only fighting style in Overblood.
Yeah. Maybe I better start keeping a lookout for 1-2 kicks to the dick in more games and see if it pops up more.
I'm surprised that fighting style wasn't used in Kill Bill. I can do 1-2 kick to the dick and the crane.
Oh. Yeah, this is you fight fucking Vulcan Raven again, and before Vulcan Raven dies, like whereas when Sniper Wolf dies, she gives you this monologue about like her life, and it's like kind of like this meaningful story about like the nature of war and all this. When you kill Raven, he's like the expedition dump. Like he has no important character traits of his own.
Yeah.
He's just like, this is where he's like that Anderson you killed before. That was really Decoy Octopus. And it's like, okay, cool. So I guess I just killed 2 of you. So just cross that off my list. All right.
Well, you killed a lot more.
And for some reason, doesn't he like also kind of tell you Liquid's plans and shit too? And it's like,
he starts to.
Why? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of because you defeated him, he gives you more answer than you had, type of thing. I want to say, as an honor of being the great warrior that you are.
Well, yeah, it's the constant Metal Gear situation of like, oh, Solid Snake's the coolest. All I want in life is to be killed by Solid Snake so I can give him some important information. Like that's the dream of every soldier on the battlefield.
Well, because he defeated
mauled to death
the greatest warrior ever with a lighter. So he's, that's why.
Yeah.
I mean, for those that don't get that reference in Metal Gear 2, you light up Big Boss with a lighter and accelerant.
Or so you think.
Okay,
that should really be the tagline for like Metal Gear's, like the entire Metal Gear series. After every single thing everybody says, somebody else should, like, you could easily say, or so you think, and it makes complete sense. Master Miller is contacting you on the radio, or so you think. Good job, Snake. You found the DARPA chief, or so you think.
And I do like the fight with Raven. No, you're fine. Running around that room, and it's a really fucking cool fight to me. And just like I like the whole monologue too that he gives you. But this is also when the game you're getting close to my part where I would cut completely out of the game because it's unnecessary. Coming up shortly.
I think we should talk about it. Like we should talk about it, but like really fast. I don't think it's that important.
What part? Getting the key?
Yeah, it's just not that important. It's just a bullshit thing you have to do.
Well, you can't forget about the part where you get up to the room, you climb over Metal Gear, which is cool, and they're talking about how we activated Metal Gear, and I hope no one shuts it down, and then you find out that you're on camera, they know you're right there, and it's all a big ploy how they're lying because they can't start it up, and they need you to do it for them.
Do you think Liquid's just sitting there like cracking up? Like, I know what we should do. We should just trap him in the room and gas him. It'll be that easy.
It's Liquid and Ocelot watching a computer screen, and Liquid just keeps saying really weird things to Ocelot that he doesn't understand. He's like, you and me, like, we're one of the same mind. And Ocelot's just like, yeah, that's kind of a weird thing to say.
We even have the same size shoe.
Yeah.
We even have the same size arm.
We have so much in common, Ocelot. He's just like getting closer and closer, and Ocelot's like backing away. Kind of creepy, dude.
I got pissed off. And they shoot the key out of your hand, and it falls into a drainage ditch that hurts you. And if you didn't submit, a stupid fucking rat eats your key, and you have to blow up the rat with C4. At least that's how I got the rat. I blew his ass up.
Mm-hmm. That's the funnest way to do it, though.
Yeah,
I was irritated though because I had to look it up. Could not figure out how to get
over,
the rat.
by the way, at this point, which we kind of need to talk about because what happens next is important. Is all while this is happening, you get like a shitload of Kodak calls that we haven't talked about really, because you get Kodak calls about from Master Miller, who's like, oh, like I worked at the FBI, Snake, and like Naomi Hunter's lying to you, and then calls from like Naomi Hunter where she's like talking about who Gray Fox might be, and then like Colonel Campbell starts acting weird for like no reason whatsoever. They're like, is it Mei Ling who says like that she starts getting like worried that like the Pentagon is going to intervene? It's like all this shit is going on, like just sowing seeds of mistrust amongst your friends.
I think she says that they're gonna blow up the base because the Foxhound gave them like 24 hours to return Big Boss's body. And now that 24 hours is running out, so it's getting really close to where they're like, okay, well, we just got to blow them up before they launch any nukes from Metal Gear.
But I bring all that up because the next Kodak call you get, I think is, I would say like this is kind of one of the more famous instances or situations in the Metal Gear games. Is like one of the more famous story beats where you're talking to Master Miller and like Colonel Campbell interrupts the phone call and he's like, Snake, like, we sent people to like Master Miller's house and he's been dead for 3 weeks. And Master Miller,
I think it's 3 days. I don't think it's 3 weeks. Maybe
he's been dead for a while, however long it is. But the point is he's dead. And you're like, but then who am I talking to? And Master Miller starts laughing and suddenly gets a British accent. And I think that's the only reason. Liquid has a British accent is so that Master Miller can suddenly have one, and you're like, what the fuck?
I didn't know.
There's no other reason that Liquid would speak British. I think he's like, I've got you now, Snake. And he puts on he takes off a pair of aviators, and like the pair of aviators is enough for Snake not to recognize somebody who looks just like him.
Snake's not the brightest boy in the world, okay? Let's just say
I think who voices Liquid Snake? Because I think he also does like a smattering of other voices, like not Roger Rabbit, but like Leonardo from Ninja Turtles, Bugs Bunny.
He
does a crap ton of voices.
Cam Clark.
Clark, yeah,
was one of
yeah.
Cam Clark is he's rather most people would know him as Leonardo and Rocksteady in Ninja Turtles. He's also Kaneda in Akira.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tetsuo Kaneda.
Tetsuo.
But Liquid's kind of had a lot of different voice actors because Liquid's had a lot of different fucking people play him, even though he's only in like a couple games really as Liquid. It's confusing. We're not going there. We're not going to get into that shit. It's confusing. But that's like one of those great moments where it's like, but like it's kind of reminiscent of like the elevator scene. You're just like, wait, what's going on? It's like, I've been tricking you the whole time. But also, like, he's sowing mistrust, but he's doing it by telling you like true things for some reason. I don't
because as I joked earlier, Naomi Hunter is not Naomi Hunter. She's impersonating Naomi Hunter. And she also, I guess, didn't she inject you with some fox dye or something to set up to kill you too because she wants revenge?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, because is this the part of the game where you learn? No. After,
it's coming up.
It's coming up. We'll get there. But he tells you that like Liquid Snake. He tells you that he was Master Miller the whole time, and it's like, oh, what? And then he goes on this whole spiel when you like meet up with him on top of the fucking Metal Gear Rex, and just like has this massive exposition dump and tells you everything about the fucking game.
Mhm.
And, I mean, it's a good scene, but it just goes on forever. Where he's like we this I was gonna say there's a scene in like Spaceballs where Darth Helmet is talking to fucking what's the main guy's name from Spaceballs? I can't think, like the Han Solo character. And it's like the joke of Star Wars, where he's like, I was actually your roommate's, like your cousin's sister's roommate's brother. He's like, really? He's like, no. It feels like that, but it's not a joke. He's like, yeah, we're
Pretty
clones,
fucking
and we were
much.
cloned from Big Boss.
Mhm.
He's like, no. And he's like, yes, it's called the L'Enfant Terrible. He's like, no. And he's like, yeah, the government only sent you here so they could cover everything up. And you're like, no. He's like, also, you're carrying a virus that'll give everybody a heart attack, and you have the virus. And you're like, no. And the government wants Rex undamaged. No. And that's like 20 minutes, and then you can finally kill him.
Yeah. After you destroy Metal Gear.
After you have to destroy Metal Gear, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, you fight Liquid in Rex, and then you actually don't defeat Metal Gear. Gray Fox defeats Metal Gear, kind of.
I think he takes out its like dish or something, and then he gets stomped by it. He gets smooshed.
Yeah, he just dies. Yeah, and then you finish it off.
But he has like a 5-minute monologue while he's like being killed.
Yeah, I like that scene though, when he's being crushed by and he's holding it up, and he's the reason that ends up disabling it. But also what we did skip is right before you're the one that activates Metal Gear by having to go in 3 different rooms, or you have I'll do a quick version. You have to take your PAL key, get the room temperature key, run back to the cold room, get the cold, and then run all the way back to the furnace, which is before the Raven fight, run back, just so you can activate to start the Metal Gear fight. And that part I would have cut from the game completely because it's unnecessary. And irritated.
Yeah. Also, I know a tank is not quite the same as like a car, but when I have to drive to work, I usually just get in the car and turn the key. I don't have to go to 5 different rooms of my house and activate the fucking.
Your car doesn't shoot nuclear warheads either, so.
I mean, you don't know that.
At least.
I don't want to talk about it.
But moving on, your fight is cool.
This whole time, Stuart was a Russian bot. I knew it.
Well, hey, he probably got that car from the gun runners down the street. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Chinese gun runners. Yeah, they sold me a Metal Gear before they got caught. Weird that the government agents didn't notice it just in my backyard.
Giant.
I put a tarp over top of it.
Otaku. They just thought you're an otaku. That's all.
I like the idea of like a Metal Gear sitting in my backyard, and I just cover it with a blue tarp, but like the guns and like the fucking legs are still sticking out. Like it doesn't even cover the head, really. It's like, what's that? It's just, a car. Oh, a junker. Why does it have machine guns all over it? Oh, don't worry, they're deactivated. It's just, I thought it'd look cool. Like, okay. Well, this is the South, so we're gonna let you off with a warning.
That's a very accurate description of the South, isn't it?
Yeah.
A little bit.
See, I live in the North.
What is that? Some kind of gun? Yeah. Oh, cool.
It's like that scene, except the South is like that scene in Crocodile Dundee where he just rips out the knife and he's like, "This is a knife." No, this is a knife. They always have a bigger gun.
Yeah. And let me just say, if you're the kind of guy who goes to the gun range with like the ridiculously big gun for attention, go fuck yourself. I fucking hate you, and everybody else does too. It's just,
right?
Just gonna throw that in there. The asshole that like is shooting a fucking like sawn-off shotgun inside. Fucking go, just leave. Just go home. No one likes you.
Go to the desert. Go to the desert and shoot at rocks like Mexicans do.
Okay,
Yeah. Go out.
as you were saying about the Metal Gear fight, like it ends up transitioning after the Gray Fox scene, and you got to keep fighting him. But now the cockpit is open, and you get to shoot Liquid directly with Stinger missiles. And for some reason, he takes a lot of Stinger missiles for you sending a missile directly into a guy. But video games.
Well, he's the inferior clone, so he's stronger than you.
That's not how that works. Also, did we even mention that Raven has a giant Vulcan cannon on his back, or did we skip that?
It's there for aesthetics.
Yeah.
I think that's not his real power. His real power is that he sees the future, kind of.
Yeah, I'm going to say the guy's carrying a giant barrel full of bullets on his back with a Gatling gun is a power in itself, but doesn't make that point.
He's just overcompensating. It's okay.
I know for a fact that this exact phrase has come up on this podcast before, but just how cool is fucking Metal Gear Rex?
Right?
It's the best
It's just the coolest. It's oh god. Well, I mean, whenever somebody says like which Metal Gear do you want, I always go with Outer Haven because why the fuck wouldn't you? It's a fucking floating city. But
no, Rex
Metal Gear Rex is so cool.
I would
Outer
say
Haven,
Rex looks like the derpiest though, out of all of them.
Really?
Like,
I think Sahelanthropus looks the derpiest.
I have to agree with that. The Philanthropist is.
What is the Philan? I don't even know which one that is.
That's the walking one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
it's
game?
the like 3-story one from Metal Gear Solid 5.
That's why I have no fucking idea what you guys are talking about. Oh.
Mm-hmm.
It's just I don't know. Like it has like it's like too humid where it kind of looks a little goofy to me.
Mm-hmm.
It has like too much human feature to it. Whereas I don't know. I really like Metal Gear Rex because it doesn't really look like anything else.
Rex
It's just such
awesome. And even
got,
like
a
after
little bit of
you,
like Frank Mantis in there.
and like after you defeat Rex, after you blow it up, I mean that whole scene also where you end up getting Liquid ends up tying you up, brings you on top of Rex for some reason. Meryl's sitting next to you with a bomb right next to her, attached to her heartbeat or somehow, like that makes sense.
Yeah.
And you get more monologue before you have a fist fight with Liquid, which again is another reference to Metal Gear 2, I felt like.
Mm-hmm.
Man, there's so many Metal Gear 2 references in this game.
I mean, Metal Gear is a
and
series of references referencing themselves.
Yeah.
All Solid technically was a soft reboot of Metal Gear Solid 2.
Yeah.
If you
I mean,
really look
yeah,
at it,
the
there's a
modern
lot
age
of
Metal Gear.
all those callbacks, all those same like settings.
It kind of is
Are
like
in
the
this.
most successful remake of all time, isn't it?
Yeah.
We remade a game, and in doing so, we created an entire franchise. Whoops. But yeah, like after you finally kill Liquid, he's not dead yet. He has to give you more monologue and explain that you're Liquid is just a walking inferiority complex. Like, you have all the best genes, and I have the worst genes, and it's not fair. And Big Boss was so mean to me, and I want to kill all the everybody that's related to Big Boss. Even though he ends up getting made to look like a bitch later on in the series, but whatever.
I mean, it would suck being the like Danny DeVito to the Schwarzenegger, you know.
That's true, but also like
He's my
I don't
brother.
know if I had an older brother. Sorry, I turned into Vulcan Raven there.
Older brother.
I'm an Alaskan brother. If I had an older brother that was better at me than everything, I think I would just pick a different career path because Liquid's still like great at everything he does. It's just that Solid Snake is better at everything than Liquid. So I'd be like, you know what? If I'm like gonna be like the best in the world at anything I do, I'm just gonna go like be like a barista or something. I'm not gonna fucking start my own mercenary organization to challenge my brother to a duel to the death.
I mean, that's like his whole purpose was to kill him. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, he's got like a lot of like mental issues going on. Like he needs to go see like a therapist for sure. He's got some emotional trauma he's got to deal with. But
the fight's fun.
you know,
Punching him is fun.
killing your brother on top of like a giant Gundam isn't really killing your brother on top of a giant Gundam isn't really the way to solve your family disputes.
Patricide's always the best.
I like that. At the end, you're not the one who kills Liquid. You're not the reason. I mean, you're the reason he dies, but it's not on purpose.
Yeah.
Like that would be the shittiest way to find out that you're my brother. Oh, 5 minutes later, you're dead in the snow.
Yeah.
Alas, you have killed me. I had a heart attack and died. Although I do like his like little. They don't really show it that much, but I like his like unceremonious fall off of Rex.
Yeah.
Right.
Just like, okay, that's over. This major bad guy through the entire game just falls over and is like, I'm dead.
Bye. Well, I mean, we should explain too that this goes back to if you survive the interrogation or not. Meryl will either live or die, or it'll be Hal Emmerich. And depending on who it is, you end up going through a little segment before Liquid dies where he's chasing after you in a Jeep, shooting you, and you're on the back of it shooting him. What's that gun called? It's like it's basically like a chain gun mounted. Basically.
Oh, a minigun.
A minigun. Yeah.
Oh, I was trying to figure out like the exact make and model.
Yeah, I was trying to remember it too because I think it mentions it, but yeah.
Of course it does.
Yeah, I mean that's all. That's so weird to me that in Metal Gear Solid 5 they kind of stopped doing that, or they were so. I mean, the fact that the gun you have in this game is the cares. Yeah, but like Kojima really cared clearly. Like, I wonder if that was Konami saying, "Look, we can't afford the license for this anymore." Because in this game they make a big deal about like, yeah, Payday was fucking huge about that. Where it's like, oh, it's not the Beretta, it's the Beretta.
Yeah, or like the Gerber, the Gerber knife is a Gerber knife.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
but like they made such a big deal in this game over like the FAMAS. Like, oh, this is like the new military weapon, the FAMAS. It's a bullpup. It's the coolest gun ever. That's why Snake uses it. And just to say, like, the FAMAS isn't that great, first of all, but it's like they made such a big deal out of like, this is this kind of gun.
It kind of looks like the guns from Aliens, the FAMAS.
The guns in Aliens are actually based off the FAMAS. Fun fact for you.
Oh, okay. There we go.
Yeah. So yeah, there you go. Fun facts. Same with the guns from Halo. The guns from Halo are based off the FAMAS.
Yeah, all space guns are just regular guns.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. Like perfect timing. We're at the escape.
The escape, like I didn't even know it was in this game for the longest time, even though I knew like a lot about this game. When I first saw the escape was probably when I played through Twin Snakes. I was like, what the hell? It doesn't, it feels, okay, this is the second thing I would cut out of this game too. You don't need the escape. Where you get into a Jeep, and you have to drive in a Jeep when you're operating the gun with Meryl or Otacon is driving the Jeep, depending on what you did, if you submit or not, is what ending you get. I mean, I didn't submit because I wanted Meryl, because I like Meryl. So
I did submit, but I wish I did. Look,
you just wanted to kill Meryl.
I'm not going to let Meryl die because she's a child. All right. I'll get her out of there because that's the responsible thing to do, but I'm not going to like it.
Does it ever explain why there are sleds there? Like when the whole thing goes down and you make it out of the end of the tunnel? Like
because that's how movies end. That's the only reason they're there. Because the way movies end is you have a snowmobile or something.
Yeah,
they had to have something, but I mean, like also like somehow Liquid survived being tossed off of Metal Gear Rex. Now he's driving a Jeep after you got to shoot him, and then he finally dies from a freaking heart attack after you crash. He has a heart attack from the Fox die. Like at least they kill him, but it was kind of weird.
We talked about that. I was like, it's the most unceremonious death for a bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
He just dies.
Or so you think.
Or yeah, except he does kind of die. Maybe, who knows?
Yeah.
depending on how you view the Patriots and all that bullshit.
Yep, and Snake even says he's going to retire again, or so you think.
Yeah, I'm going back to retirement, which is the universal sign for I'll be back in the sequel.
Mm-hmm. And that's the last time we see Meryl as well, or so you think.
Yeah, it's the last time. I wish it was the last
for a
time.
while.
Actually,
not Metal Gear 2. She's not in Metal Gear 3.
I'm gonna give Mike this. I am one of the few people on the planet. I'm definitely like in the very small minority here. I liked Meryl more in Metal Gear 4.
I have no recollection of 4. And I really want to play it for the show just because I need to play it again.
I feel like
she's still annoying and like a wannabe soldier, but she actually has some skill. And she's also like in love with Johnny Sasaki, which is kind of dumb. But
yeah, for me, it's hard to separate the two because she's kind of more of a badass with like her own little squad and everything. Like she's basically has her own STARS team.
The Rat Patrol.
Yeah, and then in this one, it's just kind of showing the origin of her learning the basics. I don't know. It's hard to separate the two.
I just find her like annoying in this, but I get that like she's supposed to be partially annoying. Mm-hmm. She's the reason she's there is really stupid, and you're kind of supposed to be like annoyed that she's following you around like a puppy. I think.
I didn't. Yeah. She didn't annoy me,
but. I don't know. She's not as annoying as like the old guy from Golden Sun. She's not like on my hate list.
Oh my God, Kraden, you still on that?
Kraden's on my hate list, but Meryl's like, like I understand, like, you know, Kojima just wanted he just needed some like TNA that he had to throw in.
I hope you know Golden Sun: The Lost Age is going to be coming up on the show here soon.
Yeah, I hear.
Oh my God!
I hear Kraden has a bigger role in the second game, and I am not happy about it.
Because we really have to do that someday.
Not looking forward to that.
Who you would love to talk to because he plays Golden Sun and Golden Sun Lost Age every year, at least twice a year, religiously.
We should introduce him to this podcast. We did the first
funny
Golden Sun episode 4.
How funny would it be if it was DJ? That's actually DJ like had to kind of stop doing the episodes because he just had like a shitload of work to do, but. Does he still listen? Does he listen to all of this?
I don't. I haven't talked to him. I have not talked to him since ever since he left. Unfortunately.
I would like to get DJ back for a Golden Sun episode if we do it.
I still see him around Overblood occasionally.
Yeah, I talk to him every now and then.
You should ask him. I mean, it wouldn't be until after. It wouldn't be until next year at this rate. The way our seasons are
a long way away. Just knocked my headphones off my head like an idiot.
Yeah, I heard that the sound I have to cut out. Yeah.
But,
Sorry, I just hit myself in the face.
I'm gonna say let's go ahead and explain what happens after the credits roll, after Snake and Meryl or Otacon ride off into the sunset. There's this little conversation that happens between two people that sets up the next game.
I didn't see that conversation. I just turned off my game. I don't know what you're talking about. I know of it, but I didn't.
It's a conversation between Revolver Ocelot and the President of the United States, who is not a character later. That's what you think. So strange.
Doesn't he say like
Mr. President?
He calls him something really
me
weird.
all along, Mr. President. Something like that. But the
He
Mr.
also calls him
President,
he compliments him. He's like, "Oh, you're so well balanced." It's like just a really weird thing to say.
You're so off balance.
You find out that his whole mission was to steal the disc about Rex, and he's getting it for the president. Yeah. And then you find out he was a double agent the whole time, which ends up being a theme in the series.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. He just gets further and further down the rabbit hole. Also, we kind of skipped over the whole thing where like after Gray Fox dies, like Naomi comes back and was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, Snake. That was my brother Frank Yeager that you killed in the first game, but he didn't actually die, but he also kind of actually did die, and we found his body and we brought him back to life." Mm-hmm. And also like DARPA, is it DARPA or is it the Pentagon or somebody comes in and is like trying to blow you up with a nuke, so you got to get out of there quickly.
Secretary of Defense.
Secretary of Defense. He's going to blow up a bunch of nukes with a nuke to hide the fact there are nukes there, which, whatever fucking logic that is, okay. I mean, it does sound like something we would do as a country, but...
Yeah. And then that's where Stalker takes place, right there in China Moses.
Yeah, in Alaska. Actually, the Stalker book does take place in northern Canada.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, interesting.
Dun, dun, dun.
Interesting.
Why? All right, any last minute things you want to say about Metal Gear before we move on to questions, comments, or memories?
I tried to restrain myself from doing impressions as much as I could, and I hope the audience appreciates that.
Dun, 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 dun.
Just know that. Go ahead.
I do have a fun fact about development. A lot of it, because it was a 3D game and a lot of them weren't used to working with 3D environments, they used Legos to design a lot of the levels.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, Legos. That's awesome.
I did not know that. See, there's your fun fact for you guys today. Did a whale facts? Now we have fun facts. I got nothing. Okay, let's go on to questions. I don't even know why I even say questions or comments anymore. It's almost always memories with the occasional question. So it works. I do usually read most people's memories because they're entertaining. First one, I want to give a shout out. Yes.
What the fuck? Did anything I say just make it in there? What the fuck just happened?
No.
I heard a noise I've never heard before.
Stu?
Carry rocks. I need scissors. That what's happening right now?
I heard like an echoey, like deep note that was very disturbing and strange and made my ears rumble. I don't know what the fuck just happened.
Your house is haunted last episode. So.
Yeah, but my fucking Skype isn't haunted, I don't think.
Maybe it is now.
Isn't that maybe isn't there like a really shitty movie where people's Skypes are haunted?
God. Wasn't that a movie actually?
Yeah. Yes, there is.
Yeah.
Is Unfriended, was that it?
Yep.
Or
yep.
Yeah.
There's a serial killer. He's in the chat.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Just hang up. Just hang up on him. Jesus.
I ain't afraid no ghost.
Problem solved.
All right.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't remember what I was saying before my entire brain vibrated with the weirdest noise ever.
Is it the fox die? Are you having a heart attack, Stu?
It legitimately was like on par with the noise from Overblood. Like that whir. Just, oh God. Like my teeth hurt.
Okay. We're going to move on to memories. First one from Ian Bauer. Said, I remember my friend being psyched for this to come out, and I really didn't know why, and it came out the same day as Xenogears. Great game. And on a whim, I picked it up, not fully understanding how important the game was. I played Xenogears first and didn't put Metal Gear in for almost 2 weeks, but once I did, it didn't come out. I was stunned since no games before had really played with the fourth wall. Some of the clues went over my head, like the clue of the frequency being in the back of the case, plus the torture QTE. I think it's funny how this starts out talking about Xenogears, which is amazing. Amazing game, by the way.
I think it's funny how it starts off with my friend was really into it, which is exactly why I said everybody got into Metal Gear.
Mm-hmm.
Here's another one from Joel Hopkins. I would love to for the show, but we would need a month of short games and another month of short games in order to do it. So it might never happen.
Man. It's almost like we would have to change the format to allow that.
We're starting to do that anyway, but still, it's really fucking long and it's strange as hell. And I could spend 3 episodes talking about the entire game, but we're not gonna.
Just for the audience, for anybody still listening, we are working on a way to play longer. We get a lot of recommendations to play like really long games, and we want to, and we're trying to figure out a way to do that effectively. So
it is for next season.
Yeah, don't worry, we are in talks about it.
We have KOTOR coming.
Yeah, that's
that's not a long game for Stu. That's a one night. That's a one sitting game for Stu, I think.
I could probably beat it in like a day and a half if I really put my mind to it. But I would still be able to do everything.
All right, from Joel Hopkins. I first played Metal Gear Solid when I was 7. Hey, you weren't 17, you weren't 18 yet to buy this game, sir. I remember hearing the word bastard from Meryl and thinking I really shouldn't be playing this. I didn't want my parents finding out. However, funnily enough, my mom started watching me play and got really into the story and the game. I got stuck when fighting Rex. She ended up helping me beat it. I really like stuff like that when people talk about when their parents getting involved.
See, that's a nice little heartwarming story. I mean, every time you get a parent involved playing games with you, that's awesome.
Right.
That was my cousin. My cousin would I remember my cousin would actively come over and be like, we're gonna play Kane and Lynch. And I'm like, okay, I guess I can play it again. I've beaten it like 5 times. And he's like, that's exactly why we're playing it. He said, because I can't beat it and you're the only one I know who can. It's just like nobody in my family was good at games. So I always really appreciated that.
And this one from Tony Delgado said, I played the demo for Metal Gear Solid probably 1,000 times as a child. I love running around, popping enemies on the head, and then running away, playing around a chase with the game's AI. The demo ended right after the DARPA chief scene. I absolutely need to know what happened afterwards. I begged my parents for the DARPA chief game all year. And of course, asked Santa Claus for the DARPA chief game for Christmas. By some miracle, my parents knew what I was talking about and got me Metal Gear Solid. And I rushed to play it without opening the rest of my Christmas present. It is still my favorite game to this day. Also, the Psycho Mantis "Make Love to Me" scene really confused me as a kid, and I didn't know what to make of it. I forgot about that scene.
That would be funny if he just opened up Metal Gear and he just went to his room. His parents are like, well, what about your other presents? He's like, no, I'm good. I'm good. I got what I need.
From
Thanks,
Danny.
Santa.
Yeah, thanks.
I like the idea of somebody's parents taking away Metal Gear because they're playing it on the TV and they just hear from the room, "Hurt me more, Snake, hurt me more."
Oh my god.
from Danny Palacho. I butchered that name. When I first got the PS, I got a demo disc with a Metal Gear Solid demo on it. I played that thing to death because neither me nor my mom could afford to buy the game. And it wasn't until I was able to borrow and keep it from a friend, which happened several years later. It's a great game. And also, he said, I also remember Metal Gear Solid was competing with Siphon Filter. It was never competing with Siphon Filter.
No.
Siphon Filter.
Not even the same
was
level.
Just lucky to even be considered for the race.
We should play Siphon Filter someday.
No.
Okay, now we
but you can shoot the moon, JD.
Oh God.
Siphon Filter is great for about 30 seconds, and then it gets real tired.
It gets real dumb fast. I've tried going back to it many times. It's just not good.
I've never beaten it. All right. From Christopher Umdenstock. I know I pronounced that wrong. Kind of funky. Played in before I was 10 and got to the fist fight and couldn't beat it. Went back to it in high school when I was hanging out with my freshmen, letting them do so at my place because apparently I was in the house in the middle of everyone. Anywho, second playthrough and my hand started to hurt so bad. Had one of my friends do it. The button mash sequence. Finally beat the game a day or two later. Still had that memory card with the original save too. Like a lot of people do have fond memories of this game. I have a lot of comments. I got more to read, by the way.
Oh yeah.
From Mike Eaton. This is from the Laser Time group that I'm a part of. So this is one of my all-time favorites, and it's what got me back in the games after having taken a few years off the hobby. You know, it's always nice when there's a game that can bring you back, because I ended up taking years off too at one point. One thing I love the most about Metal Gear Solid is how much the voice cast commits to the fiction. One thing I like to do is imagine these characters in boring everyday situations, like imagine Liquid Snake and Ocelot in Costco having an argument about which granola bars to buy.
Look, you and me, dude, same wavelength.
That's why I read that. And then another one from Lucas London. I remember playing the demo like 50 times, and over half of those times I didn't know you could kill enemies with your bare hands. The game doesn't tell you.
No, it doesn't. That is
Not at all. And from Tyler Watson, this is still my favorite game for the PS1. I think I'm on my 10th or 11th playthrough of it. It's a great game. It is definitely one of the best PS1 games for sure.
And once again, it holds up no matter what.
It does.
Yeah, I think it's on anytime you see like a list of like the greatest games of all time, it's pretty consistently in the top. I go so far as to say it's in the top 30. I don't know if it breaks 20 on every single list, but I mean, it's an important game.
All right, and this one from Kerry Chandler. He said, Metal Gear Solid is one of my favorite classic games and series that I only recently started playing a couple years ago. One of my favorite parts in MGS is the incredibly innovative fight with Psycho Mantis. I really wish I had encountered it without spoilers. I also really like the final showdown with Metal Gear Rex and then fist fight with Liquid Snake. The Metal Gear series is such a great blend of stealth action, over-the-top anime writing, and I love it. I agree, man. I was introduced to it a long time ago, but I still love it.
I wouldn't say the Psycho Mantis fight was innovative. I'd say it was a little gimmicky.
It's innovative. He reads your controller.
Kind of.
I don't know if that's innovative.
Yeah,
I mean, it's really cool, but I mean,
that's what I gotta say.
That didn't become a thing, and I'm really glad that didn't become a thing.
Yeah, there's no innovation there.
Yeah.
Okay, we don't agree.
I mean,
that's never happened before.
I'm just gonna go ahead and throw out that in Knights of the Old Republic, you can put a second controller in and change the pitch of people's voices, which is completely useless. Like, I'm glad that there aren't any fights that I have to like imagine that happening today, where you have to connect a second controller like wirelessly or something. That'd be such a fucking nightmare. Especially since controllers now are like $60 each. Like, they're the price of a fucking game.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
All right, this one from Misha Argol said, my favorite feature was the codec. Even though you were solitary for much of the game, you could always call for help, relevant advice, or even trivia about the Alaskan setting, military gear, and history. It was really meta how you had to find Meryl's frequency by looking on the back of the CD case. A magazine I read said there were over 100,000 words of dialogue recorded for the game, which is really fucking impressive for the time.
I mean, yeah, it's when you're making an anime game that's not an anime game, but is basically an anime game, you gotta record a whole shitload of monologues.
I might have to play Twin Snakes after this. No.
Well, let's just go. Fuck it. We'll just change the schedule and we'll just play for the next 5 weeks. We'll just play Metal Gear games.
That is tempting almost, especially a couple of the games.
But I would not. Honestly, I know what next week's pick is because it's mine. If you ask me right now to drop it for another Metal Gear, I would 100% do it.
I have someone lined up for that one already, and I do want to play it. And Stefan's already beat it, so I think, right?
No, I haven't beaten it.
No, it's like a couple hours though. I mean,
yeah. But Metal Gear 2 will be coming, but I'm not ready to record another 4-hour podcast for Metal Gear 2, so because I won't shut up on that one.
Can we just skip to Snake Eater so that I can just sing Snake Eater the entire time and just ruin that song
in the background? The entire thing is just really quietly.
Yeah, I'll record myself singing Snake Eater, and I'll just, without like telling you, I'll just layer it in very quietly. So people who turn up the podcast all the way are like, "What the fuck is that?"
Love with us,
Eater, crime.
All right, this is from a Metal Gear group. Some guys gave me some stuff to add to this episode from Mantis Toboggan. I don't know. Mantis T. I still always say one of my favorite little things in the first Metal Gear. I love when you're with Meryl in the caves after the Psycho Mantis fight, and when you get to the end before Sniper Wolf, if you harm Meryl and then go into a box, you'll have a dog piss in the box you're hiding, which we did briefly mention, but not. I don't think we said it correctly. So
I think we did say it correctly because I said it, Mike. Yeah. I said it correctly.
Apparently, I zoned that part out.
Did you say wolf though, or did you say wolf? Because I wasn't listening that closely.
I don't remember. I probably said woof.
I thought I heard somebody say wolf, but I can't remember. I'm having like the worst brain problems this episode for some reason.
That's because the ghosts are trying to possess you.
Apparently.
That's what I think's happening over there.
Somebody is singing Snake Eater behind me, and it's really distracting. Consistently the entire time.
Is there somebody in the house named Carol Ann?
That's actually the problem is during this, anytime I think about Metal Gear, I just start humming the song Snake Eater. It's just in my head. So that's probably what it is.
So you're telling me that you're going to put Snake Eater on next season then?
The second we stop recording this, I'm going to listen to Snake Eater.
Oh, you need to put it on the show.
Probably like 3 or 4 times. I
don't have to waste my pick to put it on the show. So I'd be very happy with that.
Okay, yeah.
All right. From JJ Costas.
Have you picked all the Metal Gear games at this point?
Yes. No, 2 of them. I didn't. Metal Gear 2, I didn't pick. That was you.
That was me? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
I know. I keep track of everything.
It's been so long. We've done so many episodes.
57. Well, 57 regular episodes, 74 at this point, I want to say we have or so, if you all together a comic and bonus crap.
I almost went back and listened to our other Metal Gear episodes just to make sure we weren't repeating ourselves. And I was like, yeah, no, I can't.
It's okay. It doesn't matter.
I'll be so confused if I do that.
From JJ Costa, it's the game that got me into gaming. 20 plus years later, and I still love it to this day. I even have a Rex tattoo on my forearm. That's cool, man.
I've always wanted even though they're baddies, I've always wanted the Foxhound logo as a tattoo.
It's a cool symbol.
It is a cool symbol.
And from Alex Craig, he said, my life model is the best is yet to come, and I'm glad I got into Metal Gear Solid growing up. Ending it with 4 was a great decision Hideo made. Was it that from the games? Or that just, I'm just curious.
What?
That comment, my life model, the best is yet to come.
No? Yeah, I think so.
I don't know. It felt like maybe it was something that he was talking about with the games, and I just didn't catch it, so I wanted to read it. But
yeah, it's a song.
Either way, it's a good model.
It's a song in this game.
Oh wow, that's so much. Okay, I actually played with headphones on for this game most of the time. I did have the headphones playing this time. Actually,
it's
for those that know me, it doesn't happen a lot.
It was a song I think for this game, but it wasn't actually in this game. Like they covered it for the game, but they didn't put it in, I want to say. And then it shows up again in Metal Gear Solid 4 as a like cut song that you can find on the iPod.
Okay.
I think I might be wrong about that, and I'm sorry if I am, but I think I'm right.
There's nothing wrong ever. We only speak facts on this show.
There is so much about Metal Gear that anybody out there that knows every little detail about it, I mean, just like something is deeply wrong with that person. I doubt I doubt if you questioned Kojima, he could like answer everything about these games.
I'll give you that. All right. They got 2 more things to read, then we're done with questions. One from Sarah Marino. Hurt me more. Yeah, I just
hurt me more, Snake.
That's fight. And this one from Chef Danny Rodriguez said the fight with Frank Jaeger, I mean Deep Throat, I mean Gray Fox, I mean Ninja is always good. Yeah.
Yep.
And I think it's time that we move on to Shelf or Box. And because I've done it so many times, Stefan, why don't you go first? That was perfect. That was perfect.
I was literally waiting for that. It was so stupid too.
It was great. Great.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and put this on my shelf. Obviously, when I first got this game, I actually didn't know what to expect. Like, yeah, you could watch a trailer, but I think that did not fill up what this game was, because we were literally playing what was eventually going to be a classic. This game is a classic all the way.
Mm-hmm.
What, you don't agree?
No, I'm saying I guess.
No, he agrees.
No, sorry. I've realized this just to apologize to everybody. Sometimes I say and I realize as we're going back and I'm listening to the episode to process them or listening to the episode later, it sounds like I'm just saying like I disagree. But if you hear me go it usually means I'm saying
Or you don't hear because I cut out some of those. So
okay.
But yeah, it's a classic through and through. I think going back to it, it's not rough. It's not rough in any way. It's still a fun game. Everything holds up. Some of the jokes are still fun. Some of the stuff to listen to on the codec is still interesting. It's always nice to hear World War history. Sorry, I'm just hearing it such the other way, Stu.
I know it's such a problem
it's not your fault.
I realized it a couple weeks ago, and I haven't been able to stop myself because it's just how I respond to things. If I don't want to interrupt you, I think it's because you just have Snake Eater going in your head right now. Yeah, it sounds like I'm disagreeing. I'll just say yeah. Or okay. Yeah, the reason I started saying was because I started saying yeah on the episodes, and I realized I say yeah too much in response, and so I was like, I need to mix it up a little bit.
I cut those out too, so
yeah. Not all. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Those aren't getting cut.
Yeah.
Sure. I'll say sure from now on.
I hate you all right now. So you were saying?
As I was saying, it's going on the shelf, and I think everyone else here should agree with me, but we'll see.
Yes. Okay.
How about you, Dylan?
Definitely shelf. JD hit it right on the head. It's a classic, like in all like ways, like between the development of the game, just overcoming where it was in gaming history. Like they had nothing still at that point, pretty much, for that style of a game. Between that to the lore building to the characters themselves, like it holds up every way. Like definitely a shelf.
Okay. How about you, Stu?
I mean, yeah, 100%. Yes, yes. End of shelfer box. Am I joking? Am I not? Let the tension flow. No, it's it's going on my shelf for sure. It's it's a classic game, like everyone else said. Not to echo everyone, but it's a classic. It's one of the greatest games ever. It's one of the most important games ever. I mean, I said this about a couple of the other games, but even just for like the box art alone for Metal Gear, it's got that like watercolor-esque box art that they always do. That's just so beautiful. That alone would put it on my shelf, to be honest. But it was just a great game in a year that had a series of some of the best games of all time. And like 1998 was just so fucking good. Not that there haven't been good years since, but 1998, I mean, we got like 007 GoldenEye and like Resident Evil and fucking Metal Gear Solid. Like if you were a kid,
we got one good game, you're trying to tell me, right?
Yeah. And the trading card game for Pokemon.
Yeah, boy. I mean, had that.
It was the same year. If you think that's crazy, it was the same year that Half-Life and Grim Fandango and Ocarina of Time also came out.
Oh wow!
Oof!
Like 1998 was such a fucking good year. If you were a kid with like either very generous parents or a friend with very generous parents, then I mean you were having a fucking great time. So I mean, yeah, it's like any game from 1998. Typically, I'll put it on my shelf. But Metal Gear Solid is so important to me as a series. It's one of those series that I just absolutely adore for so many reasons. It's one of those series that I love and hate at the same time. I love how much I hate it. So yeah, it's going high up on my shelf.
Okay. I figured. I'm also going to put this on the shelf too, as obviously, I mean, I loved this game back then, even though I could never beat it. I only first beat it like 3-4 years ago on the PS1 because I sucked at the PS1 version of it, and then I beat it for the show, but I also was using loading and saving whenever I felt like it. But I didn't need it. I just was in a hurry. But this game is just so amazing. Like so many memories came flooding back to me. I had a great time. I caught a lot more references now that I know more about the series. We really need to play Metal Gear 1 at some point now for this show. That's 100% have to happen.
I mean, it's still fun.
Just because. I mean, we need to finish that series. We need to finish a bunch of series, but who knows when that's going to happen. So let's go on the shelf. What?
So I say let's do Metal Gear 1. Actually, would be a perfect like short game because I mean it's not that short, but it's kind of easy. That might be a good one to throw in before a really long game.
Okay, I'll remember that for the future.
Yeah, I think if we do play that too, you guys should play the MSX one, and I'll play the NES one.
Okay.
Oof.
Actually, you know what we should do? And you'll probably see this happen now that I'm going to say it, is we should do Metal Gear and then make the week after that Metal Gear Snake Eater.
Yeah, you just want to play Snake Eater now really bad, huh?
Well, it might be too much Metal Gear in one in like a 2-week period, but that could be an interesting like double feature.
All right. I think that just about wraps it up. As I all expected, I'll just put it on the shelf. First thing I do want to say is give a quick shout out to our awesome intro and outro, courtesy of Bulby, aka Mike Stoney. One of those, I don't remember which order I should say it in. It is off of ZP Bite the Bullet. The song is The Cool Kid Squad. So please take a listen to his channel. There'll be a YouTube link in the show notes, as there has been 75 times at this point, I want to say.
So supreme.
Also, do we want to give an update on the shirt shop if it's coming close?
But for you, Snake.
Yeah, I know. That's why you're opening the shirt shop. It's for us.
No, because
fans.
I'm gonna be honest. I haven't had time to work on it the past couple weeks because I've just gotten like so bogged down with work. Which it's annoying because like every time we make a shitload of progress on it, then like me or Stefan just gets fucking packed with something. So
yeah.
Hopefully, I know I keep saying this, but hopefully soon, I'm gonna be finishing some work on Tuesday, and hopefully I'll have a little bit more time before I start doing this other thing that'll take up a lot of my time.
What are you working for? What am I working for?
I'm about to. I can probably say this on here. I'm about to start going to this like metalworking clinic and taking a bunch of classes and start doing a bunch of cool like metalworking projects, which I'm super excited about.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, hopefully we will have shirts coming for you soon, guys. I mean, I know we've been saying it now for months, but it's coming.
Shiny metal shirts.
Not shiny metal shirts.
Yeah,
I want to thank everyone.
They're going to be made of aluminum 6160.
All right. And I think that's about all we need to say for tonight. Hey, we made under 3 hours, so I'm happy with that.
Snake.
Not bad, not bad.
I was worried this might go for. All right, everyone, have a wonderful night. We will see you next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Someday.
Bye.
Eat on a tree frog.
I was like, wait a second.
It's worth
Bye, everybody.
the trial
Good night.
to survive.